All right, all right, all right. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it.
We did
Gooch is
it.
taking on. Yes, we're doing it. We're doing the Star Wars thing. We're doing it from the beginning. We're going to take on the Phantom Menace. Welcome to Diabolical Wednesdays. And we're going to go chronologically through it all. And I mean all. And we're going to pick it apart. And we're going to talk about the things that are good, talk about the things that are and of course, the things that are just downright shitty. So, welcome. And I got this panel with me. But before we get started, I just want to quickly say that thank you for joining us. And I would appreciate it if you hit that like button, hit the little notification bell. And if you could leave a comment afterwards, it'd be greatly appreciated. And subscribe to everyone on this panel, it'd be even better. Thank you for joining us. We're doing Phantom Menace. We're doing the episode 1 of Star Wars. Badger, you are just like jacked up to do this, aren't you? You're just raring to go.
I can't wait. I said, let's do Micro Clone Wars, and you said, let's do everything invented. Okay. Yeah. No.
Wait. I said, why don't we just start from the beginning of the well, selfishly, I would love to do that.
I told you selfishly I would love to, but it probably wouldn't be the best. But prove me wrong. Maybe a bunch of people will show up. Because, of course, this isn't Disney Star Wars. This is the OG actual Star Wars. 1 through 6.
This is just Star Wars.
George Lucas. Right.
George Lucas. This is 20th Century Fox. This is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Leon, how are you doing, buddy? Are you excited to do this?
I am super stoked, and nothing was going to keep me from this. As I mentioned backstage, the AC is out at my house, so I feel like I'm living on a desert planet of Tatooine. But you know what? I'm here. I'm stoked. I'm excited. Consider it the sweat of anticipation that's got me all in this tizzy.
And of course, we got Niyat back. What's up, Niyat? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Really excited to jump into this. It's going to be a massive endeavor, and I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm. And then I got my brother from Winnipeg here, Zax. What's up,
What's
brother?
up? What's up, Gooch?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited for this one. This is going to be a fun series, and we can go all the way back if you want to. We can go to Old Republic stuff. I'm sure. No, maybe.
Yeah, let's just start 30,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Cover the Bane trilogy of books. I mean, I know it's an animation channel, but cover the Bane
sad
trilogy
thing
of
is,
books.
I would do it. It'd take us a couple years, but we could do it.
It can be done.
It could be done.
The Star Wars theory, how it's done. You love to see it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to dive into this because I know you guys are big Star Wars nuts. I was a huge fan of the original. I'm still a fan of the original, in my mind, the original 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the prequels. And I'll give my little thoughts on this as we get into it. But before we do that, let's say hello to the chat because without them, we're just sitting here talking Star Wars. Nick, what's up? He's first. Thanks for joining us. We got Grafwib in the house. What's up, Grafwib? Badger?
Oh, well, for fuck's sake. Hashtag cancel Disney Plus. Oh, yes, go. It's just so beautiful.
Warren's in the house, and we got Leon, the sneaky son of a beehive, sneaking in there 5 Gucci Gang memberships. Thank you.
Slipped
Leon.
it
I appreciate that, bro. He slipped it in. What do I should give you? Let's see. Oh, you know what? This one.
You couldn't smooth a silk sheet if you had a hot date with a babe. I lost my train of thought.
You know what? That works just as well. That works just as well.
Yeah. We got Grego Timescales is here. Thanks for joining us, Grego. Nos is in the house. What's up, Nos? I don't care what anyone says. Watto is the single greatest character in any film ever made. Yeah. We got Ghost in the house. He's definitely iconic. Yeah. What's up, Ghost? Thanks for joining us. Yet, of course. Big Ship's here. What's up, Big Ship? Justin Cook. Thanks for joining us. I'm just quickly going through all this. This may be the episode 1 I subbed from most of you. Yeah,
you'll probably keep subbed at least 3 of us. But
what's up, Anthony? Thanks for joining us. Jake's here. Mr. Sontag. What's up there, Joe? Just stopping by to say what's up. What's up, Joe? Thanks for joining us, brother. I always appreciate you. And we'll promote your book at the end there. Rio's at the house. Gooch is live. Yeah, I'm here. We got the OG Eraserhead. What's up, Eraserhead? We got Joker. Gotta hit this guy, Justin Cook. What's up there, Justin? Thanks for joining us, brother. We got a Copa sighting. It's happening.
Copa.
What's up, Copa? Who's sharing the other side of the double-sided lightsaber with me? We got Mr. E here. Thanks for joining us. There is the official, $2 super chat from Graphic. We did the cancel this. CFH90. TPM is my favorite Star Wars movie. I'll never understand the hate it gets for $5. I appreciate that, man. It's
CFH90. It is also my best friend's. I wildly disagree with him, but it's great. But it's my best friend's as well, so you're not alone.
I enjoy it. We'll go through it. We'll explain why everything is as it is.
Yeah, I appreciate the $5. Thank you so much. We got Werwin. We got Gord King. What's up, Gord? Thanks. I like this movie even though it's rather bad. Yeah.
Very.
Jana. What's up, Jana? Thank you for joining us, Jana. Appreciate it. And then scrolling down quick. Oh, I saw someone here that I gotta quickly mention. We got Tech Rat in the house. What's up, Tech Rat? We got T3H. Nobody. What's up there? Thanks for joining us. Niyat with the $10. The real Phantom Menace is Sithleen Kennedy.
Just speaking facts, bro.
Yeah.
Darth Sidious, we never knew.
Sithleen. Well,
I'll give you this one there for that one, Niyat.
On my way to work, I hit a guy. Oh, that doesn't seem so bad. Every day this week.
We got the Anti-Dark Mind. This was the last Star Wars movie I ever saw. Jar Jar did Star Wars in for me. Yeah, that's a lot of people are thinking that. We got the lovely Sherry in the house. What's up, Sherry? And if I missed anyone, just shout me out and I'll shout out your name. And that's pretty much everyone. Oh, and Boosh. What's up, Boosh? Thanks for joining us, brother. So we got 75 people already. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to dive into this. Just before we get into this, general thoughts watching this the first time. Like, I know we're all saw it at different ages, but like Badger, first time seeing this, I know you have quite the story when you first saw this.
Yeah, I was 13 and I got to see this 2 weeks early because Mama Badger worked for Fox Studios. So I got to see it at an employee screening 2 weeks early. I loved it. I had no problem with it. I had seen all the original trilogy a billion times on VHS at the time. And then we got to see the special edition. I saw Empire Strikes Back special edition at Man's Chinese. I saw Return to the Jedi special edition on Fox Studios lot at the employee theater there. Big fucking mural of Empire Strikes Back on the side of one of the studios. I love the original trilogy. I like the I identified with Anakin too. He's 9. I was 13. It wasn't that hard. By the time Empire or Attack of the Clones came out, I was just in love with Padme as he was. So I got to have Luke as my hero, and then Anakin came out. And obviously, we knew things go horribly wrong for him, but still, in your head, you want the best. And so I got both, and I liked both. And yeah, so that was my first time I saw it.
Did Mama Badger any actors for not resigning?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Leon, first time seeing it.
I was depending. I don't remember when it came out in '99, but I was either 5 or 6. But my father took me to see it. Papa Paradise, the ripped Schwarzenegger knockoff that he is. He actually took me to see every Star Wars theatrically up through. We were first in line for 8 hours, but for Revenge of the Sith. Bought the popcorn buckets, or actually no, at the time I think it was big soda things that I think he still has to this day.
Diabetes.
Absolutely. Even to the point when Rogue One came out, I was in my mid-20s and I texted him, I was like, hey, for old time's sake, you want to take your son to a Star Wars movie? He's like, let's do it. We went and seen the re-releases of every part of the original trilogy when they have their anniversaries. Like, my dad got me into Star Wars as early as 2 years old. Like, I have memories of being in his lap watching these movies, and it's Star Wars has been there forever. I've always been an ardent prequel defender. I love these movies. I don't really love Attack of the Clones as a movie, but I love it as a Star Wars story. We'll get to that next time. The point is, Star Wars has always been there, will always be there, and thank God for Papa Paradise.
Yeah.
Niyat, yours, like your first time seeing this movie, like were you even born yet?
Yeah, so a very similar story to Badger. I grew up watching the original trilogy. Phantom Menace came out when I was 9. I was the same age as Anakin, so obviously
There you go. Yeah.
felt like a connection to his character. Although rewatching it as an adult, there's that disconnect. But I had fun with the prequel trilogy. I especially really loved Revenge of the Sith. But yeah, I really freaking love the Star Wars franchise, and it's just sad to see where it's gone with the sequel trilogies.
Mm-hmm. And well, Zach's, I'm sure you're like me. You saw it when we were a little bit older, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I had a group of friends. We all went to see the trilogy in the theaters. Again, they re-released them before they put out Phantom Menace. Went and saw this with the same group of friends. I'm on YouTube. Yep. My kids super excited about me being on YouTube right now. Just watching me. It's pretty funny. So I saw that with some friends, and then everyone dressed up and went to see Phantom Menace together, and it was fine. I thought I enjoyed a lot of it. People didn't in my group. People didn't like it as much, but I didn't hate it like everyone else seemed to, or it didn't pick up the hate until much later. It was actually Revenge of the Sith, just because of some of the plot points really angered me then and kind of put me off the whole prequels. But having watched, like, the first time watching this, it was good. I saw it in the theater, but I don't think I've seen it maybe once or twice since then until today.
Now I can't wait to get to Revenge of the Sith to talk about the plot point. I love it.
Yes, we'll do it.
Stay with us. It's going to be a hell of a journey.
It's Christmas morning for Badger here. Well, for me, I saw it in theaters as well, and I took my little guys to it, and I remember walking into the theater, and there was a mother with her daughter, and she was crying, and they were scared because of the Darth Maul scenes, and we were never told that there's scary parts in this movie. This is not for kids. And I'm just like, what? Like, it's Star Wars. Like, what are you kidding me right now? And they were complaining because they were scared at certain parts, like especially the Darth Maul scenes. And I had quite the chuckle. I'm like, oh my God. But like the problem with this movie, when I watched it, I didn't know, because there's some dark themes to it, and then there's a like really young themes to it, like almost too young, and it's just like I felt like they got lost in this movie. I enjoyed it though. I did enjoy the movie. I thought it was good. I mean, besides the obvious, and there's a couple other things that I wish they could have done better, but I did enjoy it. I was like, okay, cool. My kids got to see Star Wars in the theater like I did, like the New Hope. So that mission accomplished. Well, let's get into this.
I think that if Zelensky really wants to understand trade negotiations, he should watch this movie. Maybe we could get this Ukraine shit wrapped the fuck up.
Look, these trade federation sons of bitches and their manipulation of the space lanes, it's a travesty, and they've been doing it for far too long.
He must be stopped.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
This is obviously where the main criticisms will be, is everyone wanted essentially the first original trilogy again. They wanted a plucky rogue, and it's fine. That is not this story. This story is the falling of a republic, and it's turning into the empire. And in the smaller context of that, it is the corruption of a good man into a bad man, and the reasons why he did it.
I am not going to be able to last this whole stream. You just got me so hard right off the bat.
Let's just go. Yeah. And so he has to set up the political machinations of Palpatine. And at this point, Plagueis, who is still alive, we find out. But yeah, and that is, this using the taxation of the trade routes towards Naboo, because, spoiler, you can't just fly whatever the fuck you want. There are space lanes, and they are controlled by, would this surprise you, corporations.
Star Wars fan to understand that. Anyone that knows anything about just space in general, like, you can freely move through space, but like, there's a lot of floating shit in there, and if you're gonna be traveling long distances, you need to know you're not gonna hit something.
So this is where Robert Meyer Burnett triggered me when he framed the beginning as them sending two guys to a business meeting who then get told to, and it was like, bro, come on, it's the most disingenuous. This is such an important thing, the Trade Federation doing this, that the fucking Supreme Chancellor has sent. It's a big galaxy. There's only like 10,000 Jedi Knights, so getting two of them sent is a super big deal. Time e-fapping.
Well,
Sorry.
This was great.
Go,
This is a
Patrick.
great intro. That's what
Patrick
this
talks
was.
too much. He's a narcissist.
It is.
He just likes to hear himself talk. Continue.
It is a great opening. Go ahead, Zach. Like I enjoyed this opening.
Showing their
'cause-
relationship and their different statuses, and you can pick it up just by watching how they interact and body language. And you don't have to tell me to the screen, I am this, and this is my issue, and I'm first, he's second. Nothing. They just acted like they would act, and you pick it up right away. And it was a nice, clean introduction into a space fantasy.
And it sets up what type of Jedi Qui-Gon Jinn is when he tells him, yeah. Be mindful of the future. And I've actually used this advice. Be very aware of the future and coming events, but not at the expense of what you're actually doing, not at the expense of the moment. And the living force is a very important thing in the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
No, quick question. What did you?
Sorry.
Go ahead, Leon. No, Leon, go ahead.
Well, no, so Badger brought, like taking advice from Qui-Gon. I had a similar experience. And it was actually one of the books. It was the I'm sure you read these back in the day. The Star Wars, I believe it was like the Jedi Quest books, like the
Jedi Quest and Jedi Apprentice. Yes.
Oh, I loved them.
Siri and Tall.
There's this scene where a much younger Obi-Wan he's probably about, a little older than Anakin's age, maybe 13, 14.
Yeah.
He and Qui-Gon are in this thunderstorm, and they are, and he is struggling to walk against it, whereas Qui-Gon is like just moseying through this ridiculous storm, not being moved by the wind or anything. And Obi-Wan has to take in rather than struggle, you go with it, you use the force, let it flow through you. And even just the way it was visually represented in the book was like, oh, that's really great advice.
Never
fight against the storm. Just go. It's futile. There's something futile to fight against.
Ooh.
Darth Maul, excuse me, who always says the force is an ever-flowing river. You can fight against it or you can go with it, but it's always flowing. And the Nemoidians and the droid. I don't mind the Japanese accents. It's fine. Got to make aliens sound different. Nemoidians just sound like this. Do you think he suspected an attack?
Well, we got Viceroy Newt Gunray, and what's the other guy's name? I forget the what's his name there.
He's got a name that I forget too. That gets sent off when he talks to
his name is Steve.
Yeah.
Steve from accounting. That's who he is.
Yes, Steve,
Well, I'm pretty sure all these guys are in accounting, given what they do.
You can be assured.
I believe
Every character has a detailed name and backstory.
Yeah,
Even some background character.
Well, right off the get-go, we get into like a heated situation where the Jedi are being sent in to, find out what's going on with the blockade. Yeah. We got the gun, and we were obviously introduced to the Chancellor.
This goes to, it's so rare for Jedi to be sent on this type of thing that even he didn't see it coming, right?
Yeah.
And this was always his plan. It just wasn't going to happen this quickly, which forced him to speed up his events and make it legal, which it's a whole nother thing. But yeah, sniveling.
Yeah, and he doesn't even know who the Jedi are. Like that's the other thing is like he's just like, oh no, Jedi, that's not good, and he's concerned. And like the Viceroy is just like, he's like, oh, don't worry about it. We're gonna kill him. We'll take care of it because like obviously, Darth Sidious wants them dead. And we get into this situation.
I will say, as much as I do love this movie, I find it weird that Sidious would trust these guys to fucking kill Jedi.
Me too.
That's what I was thinking too.
He sort of didn't have much of a choice though, right? Because he didn't expect them to be arriving. The only logical thing
you
for them
use
to
what
do
you
is try
got,
and get
right?
them. Exactly.
Now, I think if anything, he didn't sell it enough just how fucking dangerous they could be. They can hold their breath for long periods of time. They can
force speed, which we never see again unless you play video games.
Yeah, I know. And the same way you see Force jump like once or twice, and then you don't see it again until Luke sort of does it, and once or twice. Yeah.
This kind of backs up.
I see you.
This backs up though the fact that in the sequel trilogy, no one knows who Luke Skywalker is, so it makes sense now.
Yeah. Well, the way I can explain that though is obviously you just say that the Empire purged the HoloNet and a lot of misinformation. So all it takes is a couple of years we've seen for the kids today to not know a goddamn thing about 10 years ago.
So, question for you guys: what did you think of the designs of the ships in this?
The donut ships. I always thought they were dope.
I had all the toys, dude. It was tradition every birthday and Christmas. This almost all I got were Star Wars toys. It was that was it. And so yeah, I love this shit.
That and the troop landers. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 with the fucking dun, dun. I thought they're dope, dude. The robots coming.
John Williams is. I love the score for the original trilogy, but John Williams is on point with the prequels. It is his best work.
Yeah.
I don't care what he says.
Duel of the Fates, Battle of Heroes, Anakin's theme, the fucking no, it's on point.
Rossi, thank you so much. Gifting 5 Gucci Gang memberships. I appreciate you, buddy. Let's send you. Let's go with this one.
On my way to work, I hit a guy. Oh, that doesn't seem so bad. Every day this week.
There we go. Thanks, Rossi, for the 5.
The score was so good that I bought it before the movie came out. Like the soundtrack that was back in the day on CD.
On CD, yeah.
Well, and when we started getting video games, it was the first generation where we started getting movie clips, and like I bought the fucking Revenge of the Sith game just because it had clips from the movie before, and then that led me to believe that certain scenes were going to be there that weren't there in the movie. But
to be fair, this was also a time when movie tie-in games were usually dog shit, and the Revenge of the Sith tie-in game is actually an awesome game.
So. And even this, I had Obi-Wan, I had the Phantom Menace game, I played Jedi Power Battles.
Rossi for $2. What's PM needs?
Phantom Menace.
Needs Phantom Menace. Yeah, is that Filoni finger touch? No,
yeah, it needs Ahsoka. We should have had baby not born yet Ahsoka.
No. Thank you for the $2, Rossi.
More dogs.
Yeah. So yeah, I honestly I didn't care for the design of the ship, especially later on.
Because it detaches and it can land and it can You didn't like it? That's fine.
No, did I zip a little too far here? Yes, I did.
No, we go to that's he runs in. I stink.
Yeah,
Jar Jar Binks. This really cool opening action scene that kind of does
you did sort of skip over them getting the whole.
Yeah,
burger. We should probably talk about the they were breath. Sorry.
Yeah, holding of the breath. They were getting gassed out. So
the first time we see Jedi with a capital J. I love Luke. By the time of Return of the Jedi, when he faced his father, he's a Jedi, but this is the Jedi at their height, basically.
Well, you're seeing them.
I thought their height
mentorship.
was the High Republic, Badger.
Fucking assholes.
Sorry, continue.
No, and then the escape with the ships, and they land on.
Before that, can we talk about the comedy in it? Because there's one line that still makes me laugh. The original Star Wars movies, both the prequels and the original trilogy, have great comedic moments of like just fun little like when Obi-Wan looks at Qui-Gon and goes, "Well, you're right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short." And he smiles at him.
Twinkle.
Yeah, that's funny.
It really shows their dynamic. He sassed him, right? There was a dynamic that they could bust each other's balls, but also, and later on he chastises them. That should be enough for you. Now get on board. But he doesn't say it like it's just anyway, it's just a great way. And also there's a scene. Why does Obi-Wan not just pull out his lightsaber and kill the fucking staff that's chasing him? Because he got it wet, and not all lightsabers are waterproof. This is a deleted scene where he says, like, if I just wait for it to recharge, to dry out and recharge, it'll turn back on.
Really?
I didn't know that. I did not.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Their lightsabers are waterproofed, and we'll see that in the Clone Wars. Kit Fisto's obviously is waterproofed. It works underwater, and then later on, it sort of came standard.
The coolest Jedi in the entire Jedi Order, Kit Fisto? Yeah.
Yes, the Natolian himself.
What up, AJ? Thanks for joining us, brother. Appreciate you.
Look at that right there. My boy
I almost
Kit.
whipped him out. I got Kiadi Mundi up there and Darth Maul. Just take my word for it.
Jana sent $2 and
shout out.
Yeah, 246 days until July 3rd. Thank you, Jana. I appreciate that. And I did do that shout out already.
I didn't hate Jar Jar as a kid. I thought he was stupid and silly, but I thought that was the point. It was fucking like, come on, Jar Jar. But like,
I hate this character so much. I feel like it is a waste of like, I don't like this character. They could have. Man, did they stereotype this character? Holy
because this could be goblins are Jewish and orcs are black. What stereotype did they do? Because he swims. So what stereotype do you think they do?
Wow.
Badger wins the night already. That's it.
Yeah.
It might be a little over the top, but I sort of like Gungans and Jar Jar and
Dude, Gungans are cool. I get why people don't like Jar Jar in general. I disagree because I actually have no issues with Jar Jar, but Gungans are they're awesome. Gungan lore, the Gungan society, whatnot, the hard ass warriors. Gungans are cool.
Yeah, the only problem I have with Jar Jar is that he's the stupidest Gungan because the leader of their tribe is actually played by Brian Blessed, and you know the way that they speak isn't as intelligent as everybody else in the galaxy, but they're not stupid, you know. And I just
Yoda speaks backwards. He sounds fucking retarded, but he's smart.
Exactly. I just hate that the two Jedi were paired with Jar Jar, and that was stuck with him for the entire film.
Because he's a little better in the second one, but they do make him a buffoon.
Rossi for $2. Menace, that's supposed to say Menace, is the least favorite movie of the original 6. I don't know. I actually liked Phantom Menace. It's just there's certain parts of this movie that I just wish they would either eliminate or change up a little bit. And Jar Jar is one of those characters. I like. This is what I mean. Like they always have to have that playful little character. Like it's either Grogu or it's Yoda or it's like from the original series, or it's like R2D2, like something like
known lesbian R2D2.
And if they would have taken a serious tone with this movie, I think it would hit even harder. Just based on the story, it is, but you could still do a serious tone.
I know.
Yeah, I think he tries to do too much with his storytelling, Lucas, in this, and he gets caught in the weeds a lot. I think there's too many storylines going on in this as well that there's not enough character depth. We'll get to it when we get later into the film here, but like it's just like I wish I could see more
of this movie.
That's exactly it. Who is the main character of this movie?
That is a fair. I usually say Obi-Wan, but it's a fair question.
I honestly thought that Qui-Gon was one of the main characters until the midway point, and then it's Anakin.
Yep. I think that something people have to remember when we're looking back at these films is like for Gooch and I, there was so little Star Wars. Like we consumed all of it over and over and over again and analyzed the movies, and you knew all the characters who had no lines. They were in the background for a quarter of a shot. And so when this came out, I think that I did the same thing for this. So I hated Jar Jar so much because he does suck, and you go through this again and again, and you pick apart some things you don't like, and it blows up. But him watching it again, like today, knowing what to expect, and there's so much other Star Wars now, it doesn't bother me as much. He's still not good, but it wasn't all I was focused on anymore, and I kind of could move past it because there's so much else out there, and there's way worse Star Wars now.
Yeah, there is a lot of weight. Like it, Rossi for another $5. Erwin can't really speak. He's goofy. I spec. And he's goofy, but we love him. He's the Jar Jar.
He's the Jar Jar of the YouTube universe.
I spec.
Thank you for the $5, Rossi. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Gooch, if I may, you're the Lando Calrissian of our universe. I know that's kind of.
Oh my God, he is 36% and growing.
I would like to think I was a Hans, but I mean,
you'd like to think that.
Yeah, I'd like to think that, but I know it's factual. I'm a player. Getting into the scene, we see Jar Jar take the Obi-Wan and
the Jedi rebreathers. The Jedi breathing,
yeah.
so they're
that was cool.
Prepared.
Yeah, I love seeing some of the technology in this film too. Like we see a little more advanced stuff, which I thought
standard
was cool.
Jedi kit in the back is their communicator, which is actually a Gillette women's fucking shaver, just spray painted gray. I know. And then their rebreather, and then those little silver and golden cylinders on their belt are actually food tablets for like long missions. Yeah, you just eat one of those and you're good to go.
We got the encyclopedia here. We got.
Thank God we do. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like
that's
no. You're the Rain Man. You're officially the Rain Man of this. So like we're gonna just let you.
Definitely got a Wheel of Fortune. Definitely got to go watch Wheel of Fortune.
5 minutes a while now.
It's a 5-10. Use the Jedi lightsaber kyber crystal.
What's up, Defrip? Thanks for joining us. And Kopai did get your message, so So yeah, they're in Ota. What is it? Ota Gunga. This place where
Okay, I'm not
Jar
that
Jar
much of
was-
a fucking nerd, but yeah, it's like their capital city.
Yeah, it's their capital underwater city that they
Under the
banished.
sea.
Yeah, they banished Jar Jar from because he's clumsy.
He flooded the boss's something chamber. I forgot what. Yeah, some boss's
Yeah.
masses.
And then we have the conversation of teaming up to take out the clones that are, taking over Naboo right now. And then, we have this and he uses the Force here of, Qui-Gon Jinn, the Jedi mind trick, convincing.
I don't think he's.
Yeah.
I think he's sensing. He's sensing the mood of everything, and I know he does this hand motion a lot, but I don't think it's an actual factual mind trick with a
Well, he does,
capital
'cause
mind trick.
He uses it twice.
Yeah.
Once to get him to agree to give them a ship, and the second time to allow Jar Jar to join them. I think. Yeah.
Yes.
I still think it's debatable whether there was an actual mind trick because they act differently when they've been actually mind tricked. They wanted them gone anyway, and they also gave them the least fucking almost guaranteed death way of doing it, which is why he said it all sinister at the end there.
I thought it was a Jedi mind trick because it was like the same way that we saw Obi-Wan from the first movie. Just kind of. What did you think of Liam Neeson's acting in this movie? By the way,
He's great.
You thought he was great in this film? I
Yeah,
thought he was...
very, very stoic. I did like him in it.
Yeah, me too.
I like his acting. I won't. This might upset Badger, and I do apologize if that's the case. I hate Qui-Gon. As a character. Well, okay, so in this movie, now when you read the expanded universe, you learn more about him. That's different. But as far as movie canon goes, I don't like Qui-Gon. But Liam Neeson does a great job playing him.
Real quick, it's what CFH 90 says. It's like it is a mind trick, but it's like a fucking light version. It's a nudge instead of a full on. These aren't the droids you're looking where you completely fucking take over their brain. It's like a little.
Yeah.
Nadia, I am wearing a shirt, but I'm wearing the thinnest shirt I could find because, as I mentioned, my AC is out and I'm hot as balls up in this bitch.
So Jar Jar is going to lead him out, and
and again, here we have another moment of great comedy. Just the deadpan. There's always a bigger fish line. It's so good.
The CG for this was fantastic. Yeah, I really enjoyed this part. Like. This reminded me of Umpire when they're in the asteroid, and then you see the
oh yes, the lesser known Star Wars baseball movie.
Yeah.
Gooch and he strikes again.
But that one, he definitely. You can even see him when he touches Jar Jar, and he like, and Obi-Wan says, "You overdid it." Like he makes him pass out instead of just calming him, and then he's like, "Oh boy."
Darth Sidious, making plans to take over and wants Princess Amidala or Queen Amidala. Sorry, not Princess. Queen Amidala.
The umpire strikes out, a classic.
Yeah. Yeah, classic. Queen Amidala to sign the contract so they take over Naboo officially. All that kind of political stuff that's happening with the we not so much the Empire yet, but like Darth Sidious like making all these plans and trying to convince everyone. I really enjoy that. Like I like that stuff where he's like playing both sides.
Because if you break it down, the first movie is him getting into the Senate. The second movie is him taking actual control of the Senate, and the third one is just full-on transition into Empire.
Also, I'm glad you said that you like that, Gooch, because one of my biggest complaints about people who don't like this film is that it's so boring. There's talking, it's political. Even as a kid, I loved that shit. Now I get it, Copa, you're watching. You don't like fucking world building, but like I love the setup for all the politics in the Star Wars universe. I always have because. I think it adds to the film.
The prequels have done the majority of the world building of all of fucking Star Wars that we all love. All the shit. You think a lot of the things all come down to stuff that came from the prequels that George, and by that I mean he introduced a lot of expanded universe. Coruscant is from the expanded universe.
Yep.
Kids love politics.
Look, I agree that the prequels definitely enhanced the world building of the Jedi, how the Council sort of functions, and how the Republic was in disrepair and led to the creation of the Empire. My only frustration with all of the Trade Federation and blockade and Senate politics was that it was just too dry for me. Like, especially as a kid, if they'd added a bit more emotion, gusto, I don't know, like there's just something about it that felt a bit off
That's so
to me.
weird because you're a million times smarter than me, and my retarded ass loved that shit as a kid. I like.
Oh, do we chalk that up to Australia versus
Well,
the state thing?
I didn't say that I didn't understand it. I said that it was dry. So for me, it didn't connect with me. But
No, it is super dry, and that's because if you haven't noticed, Star Wars is the fucking Roman Empire, basically. The farther out you go, the more slaves aren't because their gender or skin color. It's just a caste system, at least on Tatooine. And their politics are very theatrical. That's why she dresses and talks the way she does. That's why they put all the it's very senatorial, old school, timey. But I get it. It leads to a disconnect sometimes.
And just the whole thing with Padme, like, I get what Lucas was trying to do, but she's a democratically elected queen that sits in office for 4 years. That doesn't like make any sense. Like,
for 4 years, she has direct monarchical control over everything.
Yeah.
Again, why doesn't that make sense? Like, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not thought about hard enough. But why doesn't that make sense?
Are like royalty, like they don't get elected.
And they have an age limit also. That's why they're young, because by the time you get older, you're corrupted. That's why all the ones are. At least that was the theory.
Again, to that point as well, like them being elected while they're young, I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense to have someone as young as Padme, who I think is 14, supposed to be 14 in this, is elected and is ruling over her planet from 14 to 18. Like, doesn't have enough experience for that.
I mean, but with a council of advisors, and they still have to show themselves worthy.
This
and
is
like
not our 14-year-old. This is their culture. Again, much more Roman, where fucking 14 would have been an adult. 18, 19, 20s would have been.
There's even a line in the film, and maybe it's actually in Attack of the Clones, where Padme said, it's in Attack of the Clones, because she tells Anakin, "I wasn't the youngest queen ever elected." You know, it's.
And her whole family are. I don't know. I get what your point, but I think George intended us to just look at this as like it's a fucking alien civilization a long time ago, and there's a bunch of crazy shit. I get your points, though. I do get your points.
I see both points. I also want to touch on like the pacing for this film. What did you think of the pacing as we are getting into, Anakin and Qui-Gon, or no, sorry, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, like with Jar Jar coming to do the rescue of the Queen here. I felt like it was pretty fast paced. Like the beginning was great, and then it just kind of speeds up, and then you're kind of like you're playing catch up a little bit at times.
Hurry up and get him to Tatooine.
Well, I mean, they spend a long time in Tatooine, but this intro just feels a little quick. Like it's pretty fast. Like if you're go ahead there, Niyat.
No, I agree. It is fast, but I like that it was fast and that you sort of have to piece things together on the fly. My biggest issue with the film is how we sort of get bogged down on Tatooine. With that said, if we didn't have all of that dynamic between Anakin, his mother, we wouldn't have gotten the pod racing scene, which is probably one of the best sequences in the entire film. So yeah.
You mean the entire saga?
And directly patterned after Ben-Hur chariot racing.
Absolutely.
Nadia.
We've tried that. It didn't work.
Nadia.
I love that she misspelled rule. I know it was on purpose, but it adds to the joke in such a beautiful way.
Yeah.
By the way, when I was a kid, this is like not when the movie starts, but like, all right, let's go. When they drop down with the lightsabers, and I'll handle that. And they free the pilots, and it's like, let's fucking go.
Me and my little brother used to take paper towel tubes, like paper towel roll tubes, and we would color the bottom part black and color the top parts green and blue, and we would like interact with the film doing it in my bedroom when we were kids. Oh, absolutely. We would turn this movie on, and during every action scene, we would pull out the paper towel rolls and just go at it against imaginary droids.
I'd like to thank my grandparents for buying me an actual lightsaber.
Nadia, this is for you.
You're very bad. Very, very, very bad.
That was the ABF one. What the heck? That wasn't supposed to be the ABF.
Well, still bad though.
Still,
Very bad.
yeah, it's very bad. Yeah, I just felt it was quickly paced, and we get this break. This was filmed in Italy, by the way. This scene
Lake
here.
Como. And there's also a whole scene they cut here where they have like a launcher. They're using a line launcher to get out of it.
And then, of course, they're trying to force the signing of the contract here and moving them out. And then this is where the rescue pretty much happens.
Captain Panaka, the dopest black dude in all of Star Wars, besides, of course, Billy D. Williams.
And I was watching it both times. Obi-Wan opens with a double leg kick. He jumps up, does the air splits, kicking them down.
Yes.
Such the swagger on him in this first one.
He's badass in here.
He's bad, and then just very quickly, precise headshots. Very good. You can tell he's trained.
He's probably the most consistently written character from prequels to OT, or I guess OT to prequel, however you want to look at it, because I don't know, even from the young age I was like, yeah, that's young Obi-Wan. Like when watching this movie, I was like, that is a young Obi-Wan Kenobi. Knowing it's a different actor, the whole nine, like I had no problem believing that this is what a young Obi-Wan would be. Ewan kills it in this trilogy. I think we can all agree that he is the standout of the trilogy.
I don't understand this scene down to why do they have R2D2 and astromech droids? Shouldn't they have mechanics? Shouldn't they have like Osha and her friends in jumpsuits going out there? What's going on?
Probably.
That's a great point. This is just another way that Disney has broken Star Wars. Before we move on to the next scene, did anybody think it was odd that when the Trade Federation basically stormed into Naboo, they didn't put up a fight?
They don't have an army. They have a civil defense force, but they don't have an army. So they had no one that could fight. That's why it takes them all that time to come up with a resistance. Like the whole time they're on Coruscant, they're building a resistance.
To that point, do you not think it's a bit weird that Naboo doesn't have an army?
Well, it shouldn't, because it's a member of this thing called the Galactic Republic, where who's going to invade them?
They're like Canada, right? We just sit here with no army. You guys will protect us,
Which is why,
right? And then if you don't, we're screwed.
That's what I'm saying. Which is why, when out of nowhere, the Trade Federation does this illegal move that no one would have suspected, she goes to the Republic to go, what the fuck?
On that note, though, the Trade Federation are also part of the Republic, and they have a standing army.
Yes, they do. There are many a standing army. The banking clan also. Turns out the ones with banking connections all have militaries.
They didn't have enough time.
And that is the thing. Their standing army is that's their business. You know, they're in the business of war. They make these droids. They sell. I mean, if you ever watch these movies and know, like, in episode 1, these droids, they're literally just robots. They have no personality. Then by Revenge of the Sith, you know, they're cracking jokes and whatnot. Like, there's actually canon reasons for that. That they need to expand the droid army so much. They're starting to offset, you know, and franchise out droid creations and to various other subset companies. They're like making these droids for them to expand demand, and so there you get like personality quirks. Again, it's the entire business is war, which is still something you need to function. If you want your society to function, you gotta have a principal business. You know, Michigan has the auto industry. That's what theirs is.
Yeah, I don't want to go full retard, but what Star Wars Marvel Purists was saying about the no standing army due to the Rusan reformation. Basically, obviously, the Republic's been around for a long time, but 1,000 years before the movie starts, when there was a huge Sith versus Jedi war, at the end of that, they reformed the entire Republic, and that's when, there's the Galactic Army has like just a basic defense force, thus necessitating the clones being created.
Bane trilogy, bitches, read it. It's great.
What's that, Zax?
I'd say what he said. Whatever Badger said, that's what I'm saying. I agree.
Yeah. Well, we get introduced to R2D2 here. They're on the ship. Now, I don't like the ship. I don't like the design of it. It looks like something. Yeah, the Nubian star.
Well, just all the Nubian classes, all streamlined.
Yeah,
and slim.
It looked like Wonder Woman's ship.
What are you going to say, Niyat?
I don't like the interior, but I quite like the exterior.
Sexy. I think they're all silvery.
Very sleek.
Yeah, no, the Nubian, I don't know. I always thought that it was supposed to be like to show the affluence of Naboo. Like this is a very rich planet, and as such, that even the Naboo fighters are very sleek looking for warships. So like it just goes to show the affluence of. Now I'm gonna be real. As much as I know about Star Wars, I actually don't know what Naboo does to get such affluence. I don't know what their main export is or anything. Maybe you know, Badger, but so I don't know why they're rich, but clearly they are a very rich planet.
I don't know either. And the way I was thinking, because I was looking at the different types of power and shit, because sometimes they tell you exactly what their power is and sometimes they don't. And I think it's just because of their plasma generation technology that you see later in their fucking reactor with the that translates to ships too. I don't know if you have an endless source of energy. So it just made it seem like Makeb, the Hutt planet that has isotope 5, which is like a fuel, like, you know.
So apparently Naboo's major export is blossom wine and fine art plasma, like you said.
Well, that's the plasma. Okay, the wine is an added bonus though. Yeah.
One of the issues with the whole universe really for me is the planets. It's like, because we don't get to explore the planet. It's like this planet produces 2 things, and there's one city, and you go to that city.
That's rich coming from someone whose only exports are maple syrup and the bare naked ladies.
And bad policy. We have bad policy
poutine
too. We give that to you.
Don't forget Canadian bacon. Like, come on.
Yeah, Canadian bacon.
And water. A little bit of water we give you guys. You're welcome for that.
Sorry, continue.
For now.
We do find out that we see R2-D2 become the hero of this as he brings back up the shields as they're escaping, and then they're trying to find a planet to hide on, and everything's like pretty much you can't go anywhere until they see Tatooine, which is pretty much a like what do you call it? Like Switzerland.
Scum and villainy.
Yes, pretty much. I was going to say Switzerland because like
it's more like Mexico.
Neutral ground. more like Mexico. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Obviously, outside of the Republic, the Hutts control it. The Hutts are gangsters. They have a sizable mercenary army, enough that the Republic has an army. They have a navy. That was the ship that was the Republic cruiser. It's peacetime. Haven't had really substantial wars for hundreds of years. Yeah, there's Darth Sidious.
Yeah.
Played by the great Ian McDermott, the only returning cast member, I'm pretty sure, from the original trilogy.
He kills it, both as Sidious and Senator Palpatine.
Oh, absolutely.
He's the most consistent thing about the Star Wars series in terms of character for me.
So we get introduced.
I don't know, Chewbacca's pretty consistent. Like,
I think that we should call him Ray's grandpa from now on.
And then there's Darth Maul.
So I mean, this is where the problem lies for me when it comes to Phantom Menace, and I wish we got more Darth Maul, more character development with him. Like we see very little of him. I think total he's like 5 minutes in the film max. Like there's not much.
He's got 3 lines.
Yeah, he's a great. Go ahead, Leon. No, go ahead, Leon.
Well, I was gonna say I don't have a problem with Darth Maul not getting much character because it's not. I don't think giving him character would add much to the overall story, since the overall story is about Anakin, the politics, the whole nine. That being said, one of the things we can say that was well done in the Clone Wars is they do turn him into almost a Shakespearean style villain, and I think that really works for his character. I love what they did with him later, despite the fact that not everything about the Clone Wars is good. What they did with Darth Maul is great. I love it, and it's a damn shame we never got that 13. It wasn't 13. Whatever the Darth Maul game was that got canceled. You know what I'm talking about, Badger?
13.
Oh. It was 13. Okay.
Yeah, it was the Boba Fett. Here, the whole point is Darth Maul was disposable. That's why he's disposed of. Unfortunately, that's sort of the story arc they went with him in Clone Wars, is how do you deal with being disposed when you thought you were, And
even prior to that, the comics did some badass shit with him. That there's like fucking Sidious drops Darth Maul on Ord Mantell as a child and is like just gives him a knife and is like, survive here for 2 years, deuces, and like it turns Darth Maul into this hardened survivalist, and it's awesome.
I feel like what they gave was enough to know he was a badass.
Yeah, there's the adage of less is more in film, and I think part of the reason why we like him so much is because he remains enigmatic. He's just this, I think somebody in the comments was saying, is this primal force unleashed by Sidious. That
it helps that he looks cool.
Yeah, he looks amazing.
And if you go into the comics, he's not supposed to be raising Darth Maul. He's still a Sith apprentice to Darth Plagueis, and in secret gets this little 8-year-old Zabrak before they change the thing, and like he puts the tattoos on Maul himself. So he's raised this in secret, this weapon, this just pure Sith weapon.
Yeah,
God, motherfucker look cool.
well, he's the Boba Fett of this series, obviously. But yeah, now we're landing on Tatooine, and they're going to look for parts as the are needing a few things because they won't make it any further. And this is where we're going to get introduced to obviously one of the main characters in this movie, Anakin, slave to what's his
Yo,
name?
what were you
Originally
saying?
Gardula the Hutt.
CHF90? CHF90 in the chat. What's up, my boy? Saying that Shadowhunter's a good book.
And
I see
Lockdown, which Leon bought me actually. From my brother. I
Lockdown
still
is
have to
the
read
best
it. Sorry.
Darth Maul book. I can't wait to hear your thoughts when you read Lockdown, bro.
So yeah, slaves exist. It's like a caste system. They were originally Gardula the Hutt, and then Watto bought them, him and his mother.
Wada, yeah, him and his mother. You got to duck out there, Zax.
Gotta go. I'll see you guys later.
All
See you,
right, love
Zax.
bro.
Thanks for
Thanks
joining,
for
brother.
that.
Yeah. go ahead.
No, I just like okay, yeah. Wadi is like obviously owns Anakin and the mother. What do you think of the kid's acting? A lot of people don't like the kid actor.
Did you ever see the kid that was the previously who might have been Anakin? There's a whole like a 30-minute documentary or something. He
No,
would have been
I
way.
didn't-
Jake did what he did. It's fine for what it is. I probably would have done differently. You need a kid that shows goodness and has a hint of darkness. And unfortunately, when he tries to do his hint of darkness, I just don't buy him. But you do buy him as just a sweet kid who wants to do good. And I think that's what George wanted to show.
Yeah, I don't think George wanted to play with the light and dark this early. He wanted to sort of explore the corrupting influence of Sidious and all of his experiences that lead him to the dark path. But I'm not a big fan of this kid. I don't think I liked him as when I was watching this, even though I was the same age as him. More so I wanted to be his character, but I didn't like his portrayal of Anakin at all.
There's a deleted scene too of him like beating up what would have been a young Watto. So like showing his darkness when he fights and he's quick to anger, and they kind of show it when he's like, I'm a boy, my name is Anakin. You know, they show it a little bit, but yeah, I think in this he just wanted to show he's a good boy that just wants to do nice, just do right by him, by everyone.
I agree. In the scenes where he's supposed to be angry, he just comes across as whiny.
Well, and unfortunately, that is a choice that George consistently makes. Hayden Christensen has always said he's did a bunch of different takes as Anakin, and George picked the whiny ones. And I'm the one pointing out that Luke was a whiny bitch that just wanted to go into Kashi Station to pick up some power converters and hang out with his friends. It's just a theme that George kept of them being whiny. I don't know why he did it, but he did it.
Yeah,
I mean, because he grew up in California.
Here's the question here's the question that we're gonna get into. Like, it would be better if Anakin was older and the war started right in this movie.
Disavow.
I have a proposal because sorry, Gooch, you go ahead.
Go ahead, Niyat. No, Niyat,
I was thinking about this morning, and I think it is necessary to see where Anakin is found, and the fact that he is found as a young child and that he's too old to start the Jedi trials and all of that. But I think this movie would have worked if we had like a 15-minute prologue with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan finding Anakin as a kid, and then 15 minutes later we cut to him being Hayden Christensen's age. I think that would have been better.
Well, either way, because I was thinking about it today, and this is what you stopped me from saying when Marvel Purist and I were talking. George clearly wants to show him as a slave. If you want to show him as a slave, it has to be when he's a child, because at 9 years old, he's already too old to be trained. And yet they decide to train him. It's a critical choice. You make him any older than that, and it's already like, they're not fucking training no 15-year-old or 16-year-old. So even though they've been far older and trained in the past, it's nothing here nor there.
Also,
I agree.
don't really decide to train him anyway. It's more of just like, hey, it's gonna fucking happen, so you may as well sign off on it. Like,
but that's what I mean, Badger, is they find him at at the age of 9 in the first 15 minutes. They debate whether they should train him, and then we cut to him being much older in the process of going through that training. It would have made for a more interesting character.
Melvin. This is a hot take.
No, it's a very hot take. I'm going to crush it right now. Vader,
You go
Vader
to
may
town.
not have Vader may not have needed an origin story. However, the entire point of this trilogy is to show the downfall of the good man. So that's basically when you say Vader didn't need an origin story, you're saying the prequels didn't need to exist. And sure, maybe they didn't need to exist, but I'm real fucking happy they do, because this is still good Star Wars, it's still good world building. And if there's any story for the prequels I'd want, it would be the downfall of Anakin, because it shows the duality between him and Luke. Luke, the righteous hero that we get throughout the original trilogy. It's brilliant. I love it.
And the fall of Anakin is contrasted with the fall of the Republic as well. So there's a nice dichotomy there. I may not always agree with the execution, but I think Lucas did have the right idea.
The same. I might not always agree with how it was done, but I do understand why he did what he did, and it's what he chose to do. And and just to be clear, this all gets a pass that the fucking sequel trilogy doesn't, because the sequel trilogy was made by individuals that all thought they knew better. There's no respect paid. Lucas did this on his own, and that's why he gets the pass he does that I don't give to other things.
A couple things I want to just address. Okay, Enter the Void. I like this idea. I think he should have been around 12 or 13 years old. I like that. That would have made more sense, because the relationship between him and Padme is a little creepy. It's a little too much. It's like they're flirting with, obviously what happens ahead. But this part right here, the prequels didn't need to exist as the Vader origin story. Our imaginations did a better job than the movies did. I disagree, because this shows how the cycle was broken. We had Anakin obviously he comes invested into the dark side, and he becomes Darth Vader in the end. Sorry, spoilers. But then you see Luke break that cycle in the original movie. So that's the contrast between the two. You see the father who is he bought into the dark force, and then you see the father trying to get his son to buy into the dark force, and he actually eventually breaks that cycle and becomes a Jedi moving forward. That's why you needed these three movies, and that's why that's why I like them, because you get to see the two and how they balance. Am I wrong? I don't know.
I don't have any criticism. That was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I just like that. That's what I appreciate about it. Now, did they do a great job of doing that in these prequels? I would say
George has said it many times. This is overall, because he said a couple of different things, but the main thing is this is Anakin's story. He's the hero of all 6 movies, from the kid, even when he's Anakin Vader, he's still a focus, right? It's all about his beginning, end, right? And how his son, the love of his son, brings him back. And this, anyway, it's ultimately
remember, it is not Luke that defeats Palpatine. It is Anakin.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Always get into battles with people with regards to that, because he's the one that brings balance to the Force, maybe a lot later than the Jedi prophecy expected.
Anakin is the chosen one. Anakin is the chosen one. Confirmed
until Rey. Until it becomes Rey.
Disavow. Yeah. And just real quick, Black Jedi, Jolie Bindu, Knights of the Republic, watch it. He has one of the greatest stories ever. And when he comes to the conclusion of his tragic tale is that love, in the end, will save you, not condemn you. And what the Jedi should do is teach Jedi how to deal with their emotions while being in love. And that's, of course, exactly what Luke Skywalker does.
Luke, in the fucking EU.
Disney. I'm sorry. Continue.
So I just want to touch on this. Awesome, you can disagree with me. And hey, welcome to Gooch World. I sound dumb like 98% of the time. But this point, I'm right on, I believe. I believe that they're showing the difference between Anakin and Luke, and obviously Anakin is like he was sold on the dark side, where Luke fought that and broke that cycle. It's like you see that with like generations of like races, like they talk about trying to break certain cycles and certain things with like indigenous tribes, like like certain stereotypes and stuff like that.
Yes,
but I know it sounds stupid, but like
there's systemic racism on Tatooine. The Skywalkers.
It is. You don't want to be in my head.
It's the moisture farmers, I tell you.
Yeah.
Like it's just Hondo stream.
Yeah, we're allowed to disagree. Like I knew this was going to be a hot take. I knew we were going to get into this, but
I mean, that's but they are two separate arcs, Melvin. Like characters can go through multiple character arcs throughout a long running series. You know that. So when you say his arc was good, yeah, you're right. His arc was fantastic in the original trilogy. But that's a separate arc. In fact, this is a separate character. Like I don't know about anybody else. I differentiate Anakin and Vader as separate characters.
I do too. At a certain point, yeah. And so does Anakin, by the way. That's why he anyway, it's a whole other thing.
Yeah. He tries to use the Jedi mind tricks on
I'm a Targaryen. Mind tricks don't work on me.
Doesn't work
Only
on
money.
me. Yeah.
It's Targaryen. He'd be banging his sister. Yeah, Republic credits. They don't like him.
But this relationship between these two is very awkward. I think they needed to make him a little.
When I was 9, I had crushes on chicks that were older than me.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
5-year age difference is literally no big deal in my book.
And there's no sexual thing from her. It's just you're a funny little boy,
dude. We see, we know what happens later on, so it's like really.
But knowing
creepy.
what happens doesn't mean her reaction is anything like that. She doesn't feel anything towards him, even until Attack of the Clones when she first sees him.
I think what Gooch is saying is, imagine if the roles were reversed.
But they're not reversed.
You know, like if a guy that was king and still 14, 15, and
I
met a girl that was 9, and then the next time we see them, they're having sex.
But this is where I explain, we all know this, that there are different rules for men and women. Because if my daughter came to me and said that her agent said, if you fuck me, you'll get a movie role, I would say that's horrible. But if my son came to me and said, if I fuck this person, I get to be Batman, I would say, bro, do you want to be Batman?
Isn't that Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
He's on to something. He's correct. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. It depends on how ugly she is. I might not be able to look at my son the same, but being Batman's pretty fucking cool.
My point was, all little boys have crushes on cute older chicks. I did all throughout elementary and middle school and high school.
We do.
I grew up a hag maxer. Dated multiple older women. I don't like women my own age.
But yes, if it was switched, it would be odd. Yes.
But yeah, we all had crushes, but we didn't wait till we're old enough to get what we wanted.
No, Boosh.
He's 19 in Attack of the Clones.
19 in Attack of the Clones.
She's like 25.
10 years after.
Yeah.
Well, what's ironic as well is that although Padme is older than Anakin in Attack of the Clones, Hayden Christensen was like 2 years older than Natalie Portman.
Yeah. Well,
weird bit of casting.
He did.
Yeah, she's 20. He's 15 in Attack of the Clones.
No, we just said accurate.
Yeah.
It's not accurate.
Mr. E is right. It's not the first time that Natalie Portman has had a weird relationship with a male co-star, because she has a sexual relationship with Leon in Leon the Professional.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it at all. I just when you see
Sorry,
it,
I got really excited there for a moment. I was like, wait, I had a sexual relationship with Natalie Portman. When did I learn about this?
I've always liked Anakin's lacrosse mitt catcher right there that's just spray painted silver.
Yeah, we get introduced to C-3PO here. We see that he's very good with technology, fixing things, and we see the relationship between Padme and Anakin here form. And then
I have no problem with him being mechanically inclined.
Not at all. It ties into his pod racing. Everything feels earned with him.
Yes, I was going to say, yeah, thank you, because people go, he's a fucking Gary Steele. It's like, hold on. They show you that he's just naturally inclined mechanically. He's been working as a slave, and as that, he got access to parts all over the galaxy. He's building a pod racer. When he goes on the Naboo ship, he is easily able to guess what all the instruments are. The guy's like, yeah, that's right. It's all demonstrated.
He's also not a Gary Stu because he fucking fails as well. Now in this movie,
yes,
not
so
much, but in Attack of the Clones, he gets his shit kicked in multiple times.
Yes, imagine if the pod racing scene had Rey. She would have just won from the onset. She wouldn't have run into mechanical failures. None of that. She wouldn't have had to problem solve. Everything would have just been fine.
And I love this. It shows the dynamic that, again, this is a Roman Empire era of slavery where if you lost in battle, you could be taken as a slave. If you were in debt, you could be taken as a slave. You could sell yourself into slavery to try and pay off your debts. That is what we're working. So it's just a cast of people that you could maybe earn your way out of.
Yeah.
Maybe being the operative word.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the mother? Her acting?
Wood? Oh.
Yeah.
Good acting.
Great. Yeah, she's a great Swedish actor.
This is a Tatooine 10, by the way. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. She was hesitant to
She's
jump
probably
onto
like
this.
25.
Was she Niyat, this actress?
Yes, because she didn't speak English very well, and she was afraid that audiences wouldn't understand her. And
What's her other?
She's Swedish.
Oh,
Yeah, and but Lucas said, "No, you're fine," and your accent gives a bit of contrast between the way that people speak on Tatooine as they do in Naboo and Coruscant as well. So,
Pernilla August is her name.
Her performance right here really sells it. As I thought she was like doing an Irish thing. Yeah, that's good, like a lilting. But yeah, I love her as the mom.
She's a fantastic mom. I mean, yeah.
Why do people first of all, I should learn to disregard immediately anything Melvin says, but it's just a small it's such a small universe, but yet they all buy into the concept of the Force and the will of the Force, and that it has a movement, and yet then they're amazed when there are coincidences or people.
Melvin, George Lucas already told us it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Like rhymes.
It rhymes.
This is where they're making the bet with Watty.
Yeah, definitely cheese
the pod race. It was just and then obviously the conversation back and forth with Obi-Wan. He's back at the ship.
Here's where I do have a slight problem with the film. I get why they split up Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan for this segment. I do feel like it kind of does hurt their dynamic because up to this point we have seen them pretty much together at all times, and you have a large chunk of the movie where they're apart, and it feels like there's not equal representation for like character development, growth, things like that. I think that Obi-Wan either should have gone into town with them. That again, he's still a Padawan. He's supposed to be learning from Qui-Gon. This is a great chance for him to understand local cultures, things like that. But I think that was a misstep. But that's
either the book or the game. There's a B plot where Obi-Wan is dealing with like Tusken Raiders or some shit that are attacking or Raiders, swoop gang, some shit. It's probably just a mechanic to get him to fight people for the game. But
I kind of disagree with that, Liam, because like he has that trust with Obi-Wan, and he needs a Jedi to stay behind to protect the ship and have that communication with
the Queen, stay there and protect
the Queen. Yeah. I didn't mind it as much because from what I got from the film is that there's a big trust between the two.
And when you look at it from that angle, I totally get it. It still just seems like there's a lack of momentum in this portion of the film that comes from Obi-Wan, who again is the character that's going to continue leading these films after, since Qui-Gon doesn't make it.
I think what Leon's trying to say is that while he understands the mechanical function of separating them, obviously, Badger pointed out that Obi-Wan is protecting the Queen and Qui-Gon is here, on the mission. Yeah, we do get a lack of character development from Obi-Wan. The movie starts with both of them. You see Qui-Gon teaching Obi-Wan a lot, and then he stops learning from him until the very end. So there's a bit of a disconnect.
You put that far better than I did, but yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say.
What do you think about the birthing of Anakin, the story, the legend?
I think the comics ruined it about 2 years ago.
I think we know exactly what we've talked about it. If you've read Plagueis, you've read it beforehand, you know that Plagueis and Palpatine, Sidious, tried to use the Force to manipulate midi-chlorians into creating life. They tried to create the Sithari, the perfect Sith being, and they couldn't do it because you can't do that. And so the Force responded itself and created Anakin through Immaculate Conception.
The Force,
except for that's
back
not
as well,
didn't anymore, Badger.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I would say the Anakin is literally the Force pushing back. Is it no, and responding by creating Anakin to then be
Disney
the chosen one.
Disney made Sidious was successful. Sidious literally did force impregnate Shmi. It's so fucking stupid. Ugh.
And if you believe Leslie, they all learned it from
the
lesbian face, which is apparently I don't know. I never saw the acolyte. I just like to hear you rant about it.
Badger with 5 Gucci Gang memberships. Thank you, buddy. And for that, I will give you this one. This is great.
I was unstoppable. Perfect combination of Mountain Dew and mozzarella.
Jar Jar Binks of the Seinfeld universe.
Um, yeah, when I first saw this, I was kind of like, oh, the Immaculate Conception.
Yes.
It was like, that's a little much. And I didn't.
Which, by the way,
didn't
Immaculate Conception actually means something else. But for the purposes of this, yeah, born without a father, she's just spontaneously pregnant from the Force. You have a problem with that?
Midi-chlorians need love too.
I don't have a problem with midi-chlorians, by the way.
I don't either. No, I can't stand people that have a problem with midi-chlorians.
I think most people highly misunderstand them, but
I would have preferred that she just kind of like said, like, you know, the father is like an unknown. Like
what does that mean?
I didn't get any. Well, like, I mean, dude,
fuck some dude I don't know his name. She didn't. She's a Mary Magdalene. There is no father. He's the chosen one. He's born of the Force.
Not Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene was Jesus' concubine.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
Mary,
I know what you mean.
I'm always conflicted on the midi-chlorians. I didn't mind them at first. Then I went through a phase where I didn't like them. I think for me, why I'm conflicted is because the midi-chlorians are sort of explained as being a biological element here to what had previously been a mystical spiritual force. And to an extent, it removes the philosophical depth of the Force.
But it doesn't, because all it explains is our physical reaction to it, how we interact. It doesn't explain what it is and how they even work. It's still there. All it explains is that we all have midi-chlorians. They're receivers for the Force.
Yeah, and not only that, it also goes to show that is that, like, when you get into the the books that go out past the original trilogy, you get like the Yuzon Vong arc, and you find out that they come from a galaxy that doesn't actually have the Force, which implies they don't have midi-chlorians
through the Force. Right? Yeah.
Right. So it's something that is unique to this galaxy, this part of the universe, and it's. Yeah. I don't know. Again, they don't mention midi-chlorians because they weren't a thing when those books were written, but you can extrapolate further on, and it makes sense in universe why you have midi-chlorians versus.
So again, to Niyat's point, I think the only thing that it does ruin the mystery of is why some people are more powerful than others. But to that, you would just go, well, why the fuck does the Force choose to have some people have more? And that is still the same reasons, because it all goes into its will, whatever the hell that is.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just a receiver. I just think it's a biological explanation of how we hear and commune with the Force. But what the hell the Force is and how it works, I still don't know.
Mr.
Do you guys think that Star Wars would be the #1 IP above Marvel if they made movies based on Legends comics, just like Marvel makes? Yes, yeah.
It would be the #1 IP for a decade.
Easily. Fucking easily. If they did the Zane Carrick Old Republic comments where the masters get a vision of the future and kill their Padawans trying to stop it and blame it on Zane, and have him running through the Old Republic being chased and having to team up with the Mandalorian, that right there would be a 10-year series. We haven't even touched Revan or Kyle Katarn or any of the other billion expansions. Sorry. Yes.
I think so. I sort of agree with that statement. However, I would, before going to the past, I would have gone forward. I would have instead gone with the Heir to the Empire story arcs, and then from there would have gone to I wouldn't have gone back to the past. I would have continued with the Skywalker family, and then maybe after
Skywalker 100 years in the future. I don't even give a fuck if you go 300 years in the future.
And again, at that point, you could have CGI Mark Hamill as a fucking Force ghost because he's over there trying to convince Cade and whatnot, and it would be fine.
I think with they should have made Heir to the Empire in the 90s. That way, would have had children of the main characters continuing the story as we headed into the 2000s, instead of introducing people like Rey.
And Nick, if you don't know about Cade Skywalker, my brother, treat yourself to some Star Wars Legacy. Great comic series.
So Copa sent me this to take a look at it, and let me bring it up here, share screen. Anyone else find the scene really hot when the alien farts at Jar Jar? The alien just looks so feminine and sexy, and the way it farts, it turns him to flaunt it like he's inviting him to get closer for the next one.
I just like the comment below it.
Yeah, I first watched this movie when I was very young and have masturbated this scene many, many times.
The one below it. Every day, humanity
Bonds.
is further from the light.
Yes.
My God.
Oh, freaking Copa.
Death
Hey,
sticks are a hell of a
Disney
drug.
introduced Badger? You might know this. Has Disney introduced trans notions yet?
I mean, they've already made Luke non-binary.
Well, Anakin's
I
gay
thought he
now
was
as well.
bisexual.
So.
I thought Luke was bisexual.
Sure. Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So yeah, we see Jabba the Hutt and his lovely.
And we see
bride,
Gardula the Hutt. Don't sleep on her. Gardula is a fucking powerhouse too. Just saying.
Yeah.
Got their blue-haired liberal slave there on the right.
Yeah. This is the pod race. So I mean, Anakin wins. Like we go through this
The
incredible
equivalent of chariot
This
games.
scene is so
Yeah.
good. This
So good.
this
It's
is my
great.
favorite
Of them.
scene in this entire movie. Like, I get it. Duel of the Fates is awesome. Everyone loves Duel of the Fates, but the pod racing scene is my favorite. Just chunk of this film. It is.
I think what makes the visual effects of the pod racing so exceptional is the freaking sound design. It is phenomenal.
Ben Burt is like, dude, he created all those great sound effects, and really, what would you do?
That like that sound like that they make when Sebulba flies by.
Yeah.
I listened to it.
You can get Sebulba right, but you can't say Empire.
Sebulba!
Dude, if you only knew what's going on in this head of mine, like
it's fun in there. You should check it out.
Yeah.
Also, the amount like you see a couple people crash and survive in this, but the body count of this pod race is insane.
There's Watto.
Motherfuckers die in this scene. It is brutal.
No, we sort of joked about it that Anakin was cheating because he had the Force. No. And he's barely able to survive because he has the Force. Like that's how fast your reflexes need to be.
I love this scene, and yeah, the sound design is great. This is I won't lie, I'm going to because I've started a new gaming show on Sundays, and Episode 1 Racer is going to be one of the next things. Episode 1 Racer is a staple of my childhood. That game was
That
so amazing.
scene also right there when Qui-Gon is there with his eyes. I always imagined that he was like, if the very least, it's not that like just trying to. Forgive the phrasing, but sync up with Anakin and like he just monitor his emotions and shit, just ever so casually, an extra form of monitoring. They're watching on the screen, and he's watching in his head, type of thing.
Also, the scene does so many great. Like you see Aura Singh twice. This movie never gives you her name. Never, and then like she's got this insane backstory. All
used to be a Jedi, left to be a bounty hunter, ends up training Boba Fett.
And
again, taken from
Tusken
expanded
Raiders
universe.
just taking pot shots at the pods for fun. Again, the scene is so wild of all the shit that it spun off so many stories with just like hey, let's do a race scene. I love it.
May I ask a question before Qui-Gon makes the bet for Anakin's owner to supply the parts if they win the race? Does he do the midi-chlorian count on Anakin before or
yes,
after
he does.
the race?
He does. Like
He does
when he
it
was
before.
It's
when
extremely
he was
tactical.
Yeah, he was like he had to scratch his arm and he did a poke on his arm.
He took the little blood
when he
and
was,
uploads
like,
it.
That dusk scene where him and
over 20,000.
Well, I was just wondering
Yoda.
when it happens, because I was trying to determine whether the decision that Qui-Gon makes to stake their entire survival on Anakin winning a race that he's never won before. Do you think that was a bit reckless on Qui-Gon's part?
No. Yes, but no, because we established Qui-Gon is a maverick Jedi in the sense that he's very into the living Force, the here and now, not the cosmological Force, but just in the moment. And yeah, he just felt a connection to Anakin from the beginning. He saw it from the beginning, felt it, and then the Obi-Wan doing the test just confirmed it. And so yeah, even what's her face says something. You're going to stake all of this on the boy we just met? Yes, because he's listening to the will of the Force, and the will of the Force to him is telling him to trust this fucking kid.
And this is reinforced, pun completely intended later when Obi-Wan says the lines. If you would, if it weren't for you making decisions like this, you'd be on the council. Like the council does not trust Qui-Gon because he is very much he is antithetical to the Jedi code. Like,
and we find out from Yoda that later on that some of the older Jedi have become complacent. This is where you do start getting into not the corruption of the Jedi, but the falling into when you've been around for too long. Complacency, yeah, and just falling away from the will of the Force, which gets made worse by Palpatine doing dark side shit, which makes them not able to see the future and not commune the right
also,
way.
the Jedi temple is built on a fucking ancient Sith burial ground or some shit, so that's like this. That would have been nice. I won't lie. That would have been some nice information from the movie. I'm just throwing that out there.
But in the old Republic games, when you're dealing with someone who was arguably worse than Palpatine, Vitiat, the Sith Emperor, like, you know, a couple thousand years ago, when he's finally killed, everyone describes the Force as literally feeling lighter. So, like, their Jedi are going to start to become really hampered. But he's not. He's still in tune.
And this is the part where he's like trying to back out of the bet and saying it was fixed. And I'll let you guys discuss that. I'll be right back. But
I just think the Hutts would have backed up. They don't like people crawfishing on bets or going back on deals.
As much as is it Guado? Like as much as he Guado, yeah. As much as he W, yeah. As much as he like is frustrated that he's lost Anakin. Do you think a part of that frustration stems from the fact that he does, like, he's a slave, but he does care about him?
Oh yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
He totally cares about him. And Shmi, he actually, because we see slaves could have had a very different life. Yeah,
especially and when you watch Attack of the Clones, Watto's reaction to seeing Annie as an adult, it's actually genuine.
You see his wings?
Like, oh yeah, he flutters up. Yeah, Watto's an asshole, but he's kind of like Treasure Island, the main father figure of Treasure Island. I'm blanking on. It's
been a minute, but I get your point. Yeah, no, I do. He does have a latent affection for him and his mom.
He's never cruel to him. Like the first time you meet him, he's just like, go clean up and then you can head home.
And yeah.
Yeah, he was a different type of mentor. Like he like they're in the streets, right? Ground level mentorship, like who to trust. Like it's kind of like what's that one that storyline where the kid in the streets stealing from people. Oh
my God! Please, sir, I want some more. I mean, yeah,
yes,
yeah. Oliver,
Oliver Twist.
Yes, Twist, yeah. No, it's like, much more again Roman time slave, where slaves were more likely to be educated on a skill because it would behoove you for your slave to be able to do something for yourself, because the Romans found it very demeaning for anyone else to be doing, to sell your body for work of any type. So you had to think. So it makes sense that Watto let him learn.
It was an apprenticeship, right? Like he was a slave, but it was an apprenticeship.
This goes beyond Watto. Toydarians are very much like that, just as a species, and that they're very transactional, and they sort of mask their emotions behind the transaction. Like you've got Roz, who is like an informant and a very for Jango Fett, for example, and she's always giving him bounties and whatnot. She's always giving him the cold shoulder, but like with a wink and a sly eye, like I'm treating you like shit while giving you all this money because I love you, sort of thing. That's just in character with that race.
Oh, so you just went over the whole pivotal moment of him fucking getting to go and realizing he will be leaving his mother. So this is a key. Everyone loves to call groomer this. There's a reason that they take Force sensitives as ideally very young babies before they know anything of love. And at least in the Republic, it's something of an honor for your child to be chosen first to be Force sensitive, because the attachments you have are what lead people to want to hold on to things. And when you want to hold on to things, well, how do you do that? You control it. And it all leads down to fear of loss and dark side.
Okay, so this is an issue I have with. It's not really an issue because again, it gets rectified. Luke fucking fixes this. You were talking to Jolie and KOTOR addresses this, but for anyone that's only seen the movies, I do think this is sort of bad storytelling. And I know you're not an anime guy, Badger, so you probably aren't going to get the reference. But anyone watching who's seen Dragon Ball Z will get what I'm going. When Goku first goes Super Saiyan, he does it because his best friend has been murdered, and so like he takes that anger. And it becomes a righteous anger. And he's able to hit this new level of power, not because of any sort of hatred or malice, which is what his species is known for, but instead taking that hatred and malice and turning it into a righteous sort of savior anger. And that's something that Jedi miss. Like, oh, these attachments, this love that's going to lead you down the dark side.
Sunrider. Nomi Sunrider is a Jedi from the Old Republic comics. Her husband dies, and but that was a different type of Jedi. That's what I'm saying. I just mean in the context of the way they run their Jedi. But yeah,
and
what
that's
you're
what I'm
saying
talking about.
does
It
exist.
seems like such a miscalculation. I want the Jedi to be smart enough to know that attachments, yes, they can be negative. You can be have what's codependencies. Everything in moderation, but the idea of no attachments is just as bad as codependency over attachment. And the fact that Jedi don't realize moderation is so. And the books explain it, the games explain it, the comics explain it, but the films don't, and that is bad, unfortunately.
I know there's still a lot of people that don't even understand what the Sith want revenge for, and that's because it was told in other mediums. I get it. Badass.
The other question I have for you guys is like the first encounter with Darth Maul here and Qui-Gon. He's like almost winded and exhausted from this battle with Darth Maul, and then later on you see the fight between the two.
To be fair, it's probably like 120 degrees out, and he got
they
sand
were running to and then he attacked. That's also what I would have said, but and he wasn't expecting to have a full-on Force user. That well trained.
Yeah, because remember, the Jedi think the Sith, unless you're a Disney canon person, the Jedi think the Sith are extinct. So let's be real. Aside from basic like fencing training and whatnot, Jedi aren't exactly getting into lightsaber duels with motherfuckers all too often.
Yeah, there are dark side users, but they are way few and far between at this point, and it would be exceptionally rare.
And again, using the dark side is very different than being a Sith or even a Sith apprentice.
So to out of nowhere, when you're jogging in the desert trying to get to your ship, to be attacked by a full-on Sith warrior apprentice in Juyo, which is the most aggressive of all the fighting styles, you'd probably be winded. You wouldn't. Yeah, it's lucky he didn't just outright get taken by surprise.
Picking, let's be real.
Sand gets everywhere. That's right, Mr. E.
Yeah, this is another awkward. I felt this was a little much too. This conversation.
See, I looked at this as motherly. She's like,
That's what's so awkward there, Leon.
Makes
That's
it
why
even more awkward.
Well, yeah.
I didn't
I didn't
think we can all understand that the Oedipus thing is a
female
real
caring
complex.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's
this is a good shot right here. You look at this. Has anyone ever been up into like the top of a skyrise looking out over a city, and it looks like that, but for a city, you have a whole planet that has a skyrise. Oh, that is such a cool shot.
Yeah, the CG in this is like top notch. It's really, really well done. And considering this movie was made for what, $120 million?
Now, to be fair, 120 million in 1999, very different than 120 million now. But
yeah, it'd be about 220, 250 million now.
Yeah. By the way, in the comments, CFH, the Jedi haven't fought this. I mean, they have, but they've been killed, and it was covered up. Like that was what the Acolyte fucked up. It's like, throughout the 1,000 years, the Jedi have been killed plenty of times by the Sith, but every single time it was covered up, and the Sith have remained hidden. Well, leapfrogging through the centuries until you get to Palpatine.
Well, the Acolyte fucked up Ki-Adi-Mundi because in this film, he's just like, the Sith, we haven't encountered the Sith in 600 years. And yet in the Acolyte, he's aware that there's a Sith. So there's this lack of continuity.
100%. And even if you were to say, no, he just thought they were a dark side user. Okay. He still knows the dark side. Like,
one that killed multiple Jedi. Exactly.
Yes. No, fuck that.
And that's why when you read the expanded universe novels, the again, like the Bane trilogy and whatnot, Jedi body counts abound, dude. They are fucking everyone up. There's no survivor to report back.
So here's where we actually get to see Sheen, Palpatine. Isn't how you do it?
Yeah, basically to call for a non-trust with what's his name there?
A no confidence vote.
Confidence.
Chancellor Valorum. Which, to be fair. But Chancellor Valorum, probably a nice guy. However, I've only ever seen that actor play a bad guy, so I wouldn't trust him either. Yeah.
I love the way that Senator Palpatine introduces the idea. It's just like, well, we could introduce a voice of a vote of no confidence, charming. But I actually think we should do this thing. What do you think? And she's like, well, we don't have time. And it's like, well, I'll leave the option to you, kind of thing. It's
known racist George Lucas, who for some reason capitulated to DEI. Had a bunch of people of melanation. I don't know why he did. Sorry, that's enough. I hate this is why we get so offended when they act like, so what the fuck are you talking about? There's always been black people in Star Wars.
Yes.
Oh, and Mace Windu is like the most powerful Jedi, like with the exception of
Yes.
Yoda.
It's Stone Cold Pimp.
Well, okay, he's the most powerful in terms of like his combat and whatnot. Mace
Correct. Yeah,
Windu,
Yoda has
I'm
a
Mace Windu
greater
hater.
connection to the
I'm a
Force.
fucking hardcore Mace Windu hater, so I'm gonna take any chance I can to denigrate
Really?
this motherfucker.
Why?
He killed
I love.
Okay, here's why I hate it. It's completely biased. There was the original script for Attack of the Clones was slightly different. Jango Fett actually kills Mace Windu on Geonosis, not vice versa. And Jango Fett's my favorite character.
Why
he kills my favorite
Attack
character.
of the
Fuck
Clones.
this guy.
I was wondering. That makes more sense now. Okay.
Also, fun fact, I'm sure Badger knows this, but do you know who the original casting for Mace Windu was?
No. Who? Or maybe
Tupac.
I do and I forgot. No.
Who?
I swear to God. Yep, Tupac
Tupac?
Shakur. Yep, was the original casting.
Yes, he
for Mace
was.
Windu.
He was.
I did
That's
not know
true.
that.
I did know
Would've
that.
been
That's
awful.
hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yep.
No, I did not know that.
I think it could have worked. I do think it could have worked.
Oh man, that Galactic Senate. That, and think about, by the way, that Galactic Senate has been there for thousands of years. Like basically that building, that opening.
Yeah, it's all based on emotion. Like he preys on emotion all throughout this, and she's very
Everything.
emotional.
It's very
Yeah.
again. It's Even their theatrical, the way they speak to everyone, is very artificial.
I love this scene, dude. When we're having Anakin a cup,
This is why I hated.
You can hear his voice echoing in these halls.
They're graping him. They're graping his mind. Remember the acolyte and everyone losing their shit because of mind
No,
reading.
because I didn't watch that trash. But
Well, they didn't. That was done wrong. But yeah, no. Jedi can sense surface thoughts. You can see things. Some can do it better than others.
Oh, so you got clips of the re-release version because this is CGI Yoda instead of puppet Yoda.
We saw the trailer that had the original puppet version.
And this scene for me spits in the face of everybody who says like Star Wars like wasn't diverse till Disney took over, because in this Jedi Council you've got Mace Windu, you've got like a woman of color as well. It's just not thrown in your face.
Adi Syndulla, I believe is her name.
Yeah.
Oh, is it which one? Oh yeah, she switches it at one point, but then there's a couple of them.
But it's not thrown in your face, right? Like they don't make it
Well,
a
and
subplot.
by the way, she's also got a great story. It's never shown in this fucking movie because there's only so much you can show. But like Adi Syndulla, man, it's not Adi. What's her name? Harrison Syndulla. Either way, she's got dope ass stories in the expanded universe and whatnot.
Which one? Because there's two black chicks that have like white, it looks like dreadlocks, and they were confusing people, and they had to make sure that they're two different. One is Adi Gallia, and that's
Adi Gallia, and then like Harrison Syndulla or something like that.
So the point is that they were all established female of color of different things. They had great stories. No one gave a shit that they were female or of color. Harrison Syndulla's Rebels and shit is what you're thinking of. Gotcha.
Okay, so Adi Gallia, but you're right. There's a second black chick who was again same race.
Stas Ali is the other one. They were there. They were there, and this is also where we show that Qui-Gon is constantly getting not put up on the council because he's always going against them or contrarian.
Which, was probably healthy for the council, or else they probably would have fallen even before this because at least someone out there still had a head on the show. Which, to be fair, the only, and maybe this is just me reading into it, maybe this is my headcanon, but the more you learn about Plo Koon as the stories go on and whatnot, he was sort of similar in that he was always very much like, let's sit here, let's look at objective facts, let's try and parse through this, but he's a lot slower than Qui-Gon. He was less quick to act. He was also still very aware of what's happening in the here and now. So yeah, Plo Koon is another great Jedi who hadn't, at least seemed to me, hadn't lost his way at this point.
I feel like their reluctance to have Qui-Gon on the council speaks to just their sense of stagnation and lack of growth, and why they're sort of blindsided by the rise of Sidious. Like I feel like if they had more people like Qui-Gon, it wouldn't have happened as quickly. It might have still happened, but there would have been more resistance because they just take their time to mull over things. And I get that's the Jedi way, but they just come across as incompetent in the prequels.
I'm a firm believer that, and I think this was by design, obviously, but if Qui-Gon had lived, Anakin would have never fallen to the dark side.
Agreed.
Wrong choice for.
But at this point, had Count Dooku already left the order because if Qui-Gon had lived? Okay,
yes, and then they changed that in Disney, but fuck them. But originally, he'd already left over philosophical differences. He'd already seen the Jedi were falling into the wrong, and then of course he's approached by Sidious, basically tells him.
Also, CFH90, and Badger, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Ayla Sakura was a member of the council. She was just a high-ranking Jedi Knight.
I think maybe by the I think in the third one maybe, but not in the first one. She's just a high-ranking Jedi Knight. Yeah, I do have her over there.
Yeah, she's
So yeah,
great. Ayla's great.
we've been skimming ahead here. Basically, they've gone back to Naboo to rescue that planet and fight against the clones here.
Jedi said no to training
Yeah.
Anakin because he's too old.
Yes, and Qui-Gon says no. Well, Anakin has pretty much gone through all his training. He has the one final stage he has to go through, and I have full trust that he'll pass
Obi-Wan.
it. Yeah, or sorry, yeah, Obi-Wan. Sorry, and then they're going back because the Queen Amidala wants to go back to the planet and gain control of Naboo, and obviously we see Darth Maul and everyone preparing. And then they're going to Otonga and they're not there, and then Jar Jar takes them to the secret location where they are, and they're convincing him to join the fight against the clones. And
there we get the big reveal where the Qui-Gon knew all along. Padme is actually there's a decoy. Padme's been the real queen this whole time. Everyone's all shocked, and Qui-Gon just gives like a smirk, like I knew this shit already.
But when he's like,
great comedic moment. It's just a face shot. He just
because
smirks,
on Tatooine, when he's like, that should be enough for you. It's like, basically like, Queen trusts my judgment. So should you. Just fucking walks in.
Qui-Gon's kind of a dick. The more we're
That's why I like
talking,
him.
I'm starting to change my opinion on Qui-Gon even in this movie a little bit.
He's a rogue, man. Come on.
He is a rogue. He's a black sheep of the Jedi.
Yeah, he understands what being a Jedi is all about.
I get the feeling Dooku would have been very similar to him before he left.
Well, Dooku was his master,
really cool.
So
yeah, Dooku's really cool as a Jedi. Taught him to think for himself.
Yeah.
Dooku is such a free thinker that he was able to see the problems with the Jedi Order before they saw it. Unfortunately, he also got lied to, by the way, by Sidious, that they were going to create an order of Sith Knights, and the galaxy was going to be. He was also just a pawn.
Well, and Dooku was also the one that, because at this point, and this is why I kind of take exception to what Badger said earlier about this being the height of the Jedi. It's noted that at this point, Jedi had been taking a back seat to the lightsaber training and whatnot because there have been no new wars. So even the Jedi are getting complacent with combat, whereas Dooku was like, no, this needs to be first level of what we need to know the most, because basically gun control 101. It's better to need it and not have it than have it and not need. Or wait, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And so Dooku was very into also the meditation aspect.
Yeah,
of the Jedi
Form 2.
We're fine. It's ceremonial at this point.
I just meant it was the last time you saw full actual Jedi.
Right.
Yeah. Because obviously the height of the Jedi would have been sometime during the Old Republic when there was just full on 10, 20,000 of them or whatever.
Yeah, right before the Mandalorian Wars.
Yeah. Probably.
I call them clones for droids. They're just droids.
Yeah,
Why
the
am I
droids.
keep calling droids?
Well, because it's Guccinese. And this is the moment that everyone's butthole puckered. Dun, 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 dun.
I was 6 years old, and I
Lost
still
my
remember
shit.
my theater going silent. He ignites the double blades. You could hear a pin drop in that bitch.
We'll handle
Warenberg
this.
Theater, baby.
And everyone they just casually take off their jackets. You're like, oh shit.
Roger, yeah.
Yeah, and even this is I remember it's Kreia from Knights of the Old Republic 2, and if you ask her about the ancient masters of the lightsaber, and she was like, she starts laughing at you basically. It's like, if you were to see the ancient masters wielding lightsabers, it would be as if we are as if children playing with toys. So even this is beautiful and as choreographed as it looks, this ain't fucking shit compared to the Jedi and Sith of old and what they would have done with lightsabers and force powers.
Well, I know we're doing it in probably 2 weeks after this, but that's why the Genndy Tartakovsky series is so great, because you can see the limitations of live action are very much shown when you watch the Genndy shorts, which are lore accurate to how insane the fucking Jedi can be with their lightsabers and force powers. It
100%.
God.
100%.
As much as I love this duel between Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon, it's my favorite duel in the entire series. I have two little nitpicks, which we'll get to once we jump into a few more slides.
Let's do it.
That didn't work for me.
Let's do it. I remember. I used to watch this so many times.
I have one nitpick, but it's probably different than yours, Niyat, so I can't wait to hear it.
Mine's a continuity and technical nitpick. So here. So at the very start of the film, when they're on the Trade Federation ship and the droid diggers approach them, what do we see the two Jedi do? They use like a force speed to zip out of there.
Yes.
Qui-Gon is fighting Darth Maul, and these things sort of keep them contained. And instead of using that same power, Obi-Wan just jogs over to him. And I didn't like that.
I don't like it either. Do you want the official reason? He was tired.
Yeah, think of
were
the
fighting a
Force
long
like
time.
skill points
He
in a
was
video
tired.
game. You know, you can't just consistently use it. And if you're going to be in an elongated battle like this, conserving your energy is.
He fell a really long way. He used the Force to jump several fucking stories high. He just did. That is unfortunately the headcanon I have to have for it, that he was tired.
Sure.
That's what Nick Gillard essentially said, that he was tired.
Okay. And then there's another one, which we'll jump into very shortly.
And in this one, why didn't Qui-Gon wait for Obi-Wan to catch up to him and attack together? Because he was in a closed environment. He couldn't risk Darth Maul trapping him, which he definitely would have, because he's a more aggressive opponent. So his only strategy was to push a hard aggressive and hope that he could aggressively attack him until Obi-Wan was able to get through. And that just did not work out.
So while we're going through this, though, because you would click a few screens, it goes over to the fight with the Gungans, and that is my big issue.
You missed him killing him.
There are 3 battles going on right now. Technically 4 if you count the War of the Throne Room, and I don't like how it's cut a lot of the times, because I feel like right as we're getting to something good, it cuts
forward,
to something
bro.
else. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
So hold on this frame for a second. I'd probably push back a little bit, Leon, because I thought that the way that they structured the 3 main conflicts was quite well, because we get to see 3 things happen that are very doom and gloom. We see the death of Qui-Gon. We see that Amidala and her troops are surrounded, and we also see the Gungans surrounded. So it's like they've almost lost in a sense.
I do like that part.
I do like that. Like it all sort of culminates at the same time. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
So we're getting to the part where Darth Maul kills Qui-Gon here.
So Darth Maul the whole time is seething, he's raging, he's focusing on his anger and his hatred, and Qui-Gon is trying to calm, maintain, recharge, because he's tired too.
The part where I'm gonna bring up the point where I story wise, I wish they would have done something different here. This battle is sick. And then we see the death.
The feint, the face check with the actual lightsaber hilt.
Yeah, we see the death.
This is back when lightsabers killed you, because a 10,000 degree plasma blade going through your chest would melt all of the internal organs around it.
We see how like deadly the lightsaber is at the very beginning of this film, when
Qui-Gon
they
go through the door.
Obi-Wan are going through the door. Like it's just,
That is what I always point to of why anyone stabbed in the middle, like even Sam Witwer in The Force Unleashed, he dies from Vader stabbing him in the middle. He's brought back to life with a droid.
When I was covering The Acolyte and showing how Disney ruined the lightsabers, I do a cut of Sabine Wren in Ahsoka and a few others, and compare it to that scene where Qui-Gon is like, putting the lightsaber into the metal door, just melting it. Like it's just nuts.
I heard you, Leon, trying to get to that point.
And we should also point out they're using different lightsaber styles. Qui-Gon is using a Taru Form 4. It's a lot wider, more sweeping, broad motions, as opposed to Maul, who's using Form 9. It's really quick and aggressive, a style most Jedi don't use, except for fucking what's his face, Vapad, which is a extension of Julio. And Obi-Wan at this point,
Form 2, I believe,
it's
right?
just like a bait. No, he's not using Form 2. Is the fencing one? He's using like a basic bitch Form 3, I think, which is just like it's
up
a catch-all.
until this point with Maul.
Up until this point,
like,
then
that's
he
why
switches
that's why I
after
told
this fight, right?
Gooch the whole on this, because it is the moment Qui-Gon dies, dude, Obi-Wan switches the game and he just comes in. Devil May Cry character hacking and slashing. He just starts going. The aggression coming from his swings, but not only that, not just the defensive capabilities. Like he throws it right behind his back so the Maul can get him.
He gets a little. He has a tinge of dark sidey here. I do
the same thing.
Obi-Wan,
yes, dude. Absolutely.
Obi-Wan gets angry.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan definitely gets angry here.
Yes.
Yes, but that's the point. He doesn't switch to that defensive mechanism until after this fight, and then that's why him and Anakin cancel each other out, because Anakin's using Dijam So form 5, and he's using the defensive, and they're just canceling each other out constantly through the whole fight.
Oh, dude, this
Full
final
nerd boner. Sorry, continue.
because I think you could break down just this battle into 3 acts in and of itself, and this final act of Obi-Wan going all out
It's
is
so good.
It is a visual treat.
Shad from Shad vs. Sneak. He's broken this down. Nick Gillard is a fucking genius. He came up with all the power levels and all the lightsaber forms to a degree. All the nerdy names came up in the lore, but like, you know, what checks what. If you pause and watch, every lightsaber strike is a check move, basically.
So do you want a bit of trivia? We'll probably get into this in Attack of the Clones. But so Nick Gillard choreographed all the fight scenes, and he worked with Carl Rowling, an Australian fight choreographer.
Great guy,
and so while I was at film school and studying acting, we did 3 years of martial arts combat. And for a whole month, we trained it with Carl Rowling and did lightsaber chills.
That's Count Dooku's body double.
That's his stunt double, in Attack of the Clones,
yeah.
When he's doing all the fighting.
Mm-hmm.
But this scene here, I had a problem with, right? Because in Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan says to Anakin, "I have the high ground." In this moment, Darth Maul has the high ground. He's just looking at him, and he allows Obi-Wan to jump on top of him. Like, he could have just slashed at him. There's no way that Obi-Wan should have won this.
Well, that's the problem with this film. There's a lot of convenient scenes or actions in this movie.
Go ahead.
I think this is a technical limitation, because here's the way it should have gone down. Darth Maul, because he is cocky, he is confident, he has this in the bag. He is the victor. He's playing with his food. And Obi-Wan, the whole high ground thing, this is supposed to be blink of an eye fast. You unfortunately can't do that in that. That's why animation often actually does work better for Star Wars, because
the look that Maul
could
gives
have made
him,
Obi-Wan just a motion blur in animation, and it would have been over like that.
Maul can feel his fear and his desperation, and as soon as Obi-Wan makes the decision to do what he's going to do, he starts feeling confident. And that's why Darth Maul looks at him like, what? Why did you all of a sudden switch to feeling confident? And then he does the flip. So it's in that, and yes, it should have been done faster. In that moment, he's confused and he flips over. And before he realizes what's happened, he's cut in half.
But to your credit, Niyat, and you as well, Gooch, why that doesn't translate makes complete sense, unless you're an absolute Star Wars lunatic that is... Because like to a general movie audience goer, like my grandmother or my dad, for example, they have the same criticism, and it's because it's not well explained.
Maul was not expecting him to do that. Obi-Wan was expecting Anakin to do what he did.
But you guys are kind of
Maul is also not exceptionally powerful in the more finesse sides of the Force. By you
guys are kind of contradicting yourselves, because like Obi-Wan comes in and he's like enraged and using up a lot of energy. But yet he has enough to do this move. Like you said,
he's literally sitting there hanging for a while he's.
But he should be exhausted. He should be exhausted at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like he's a young Jedi. He's a young Jedi. So like him to be able to do that move and capitalize on Darth Maul.
To be fair, Obi-Wan is also still a prodigy in of himself. He's no Anakin Skywalker, but Obi-Wan is. He is easily top 5 most powerful Jedi.
The issue with him sitting there holding on, using that moment to recharge, and then summoning all of his power for one quick jump. No, I don't see it.
I do rock climbing, and when you're climbing and you're hanging on for dear life, you don't have energy. Like you're using your last
force to keep the lactic acid out of his arms.
Thank you.
You do understand those are two different types of recharge and force and tired.
Yeah, but like you're using the same argument. Like before, when I was complaining about how he didn't reach Qui-Gon, you were saying he was tired, and sure, he was tired, but he has this entire fight with Maul where he's using up all of his energy. He's stuck down here, hanging on for dear life, which is also expending energy, and somehow he has the ability to recharge the Force and jump over him. And my pushback would just simply be that when he does jump over him, he doesn't have the lightsaber in his hand at that time, and so why didn't Maul hit him? And I get you saying that Maul was confused. I just don't think he would be. And this is a lose-lose scenario for Obi-Wan.
It's a convenient scene for what they want to establish here. I honestly think it would have played out better if Darth Maul would have just kicked the lightsaber down and just walked away, and then in the next movie, Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul and Anakin witnesses it. I think that would have played out way better.
Yeah. Well, I don't agree with that, but I do understand that you guys want it to. Yeah, it should have been done faster. As the only thing I would say back to push back on that is, you ever seen a fighter get a second wind? I don't know.
But like I've seen the fighter get a second win for sure as well. But we're at this stage where Obi-Wan is completely drained of energy, and he's in a position where he's using even more energy. So the whole recharge thing doesn't sit right with me. I completely understand where you're coming from, and I agree to an extent. But yeah, just this scene didn't work for me.
It didn't
thanks,
for me
Vex.
either.
I push him onto his back, Niyat 2024.
I just think I think it would have played out better if Anakin witnessed Obi-Wan take out Darth Maul. I think it would have, because then like Anakin would have seen death right before his eyes, and Obi-Wan doing it, because the Jedi always talk about, you know, controlling your emotions, and then when I think
so many other options for that.
That kind of
that sounds really convoluted
within the film itself, because he witnesses his mother's death at the end of the Tusken Raider, so it actually kind of make one of the two scenes null and void because he's already learned that lesson.
This is why he's the Jedi Knight. This is his flesh. This is his battle of flesh, his trial by flesh. He beating Darth Maul is his trial.
I agree. For me, let's just put it down to blocking. Having choreographed a few fight scenes in the past as well, for me, the blocking here doesn't work. Like if they did something else, I'm fine with it. If he was in a different position to regain his energy, I'd be cool with it. But
that's why later on in the series, Obi-Wan's specialty becomes blocking.
You asshole. He knows what you mean.
Thanks, Liam.
All right,
I do know what you mean. I'm sorry. That was a lore joke. That was dumb.
Rossi for $2. Gooch, just watch the CW Clone Wars. I'm all in it a bunch. Yeah, I know he comes back and he has the, you know, the robotic legs, and which is cool, and he uses the dark force to, you know, stay alive by eating rats and bugs and stuff like that. And he just feeds off the anger and everything, and revenge. But
it is quite literally the man too angry to die meme.
They don't mean that's
literally.
Yeah, that's fine. Good.
But yeah, that's my thought on it. I mean, I would have preferred it that way. But yeah, he gets sliced in half and gets thrown down the hole, and then he's told to mentor Anakin because he's dying. Look at that, he dies.
Obi-Wan never would have done if not for Qui-Gon's death, mind you, because Obi-Wan, even Obi-Wan, as much as he trusted Qui-Gon, thought this was a bad decision. This is basically a "I'm doing this for you, not for him" moment. And
I do agree. Like, I think if Qui-Gon would have survived, he definitely would have. Oh, is that a glitch right there?
No, it's just
it's a transition.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, oh dang.
Not all Jedi
take
Padawans the moment they become Jedi Knights. Most are Jedi Knights for a little bit before they attempt.
Qui-Gon's already established that relationship with Anakin. Like, he's had that fatherly figure with him.
Yes.
And that's the whole crux. Obi-Wan was a brother, not a father.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Anakin needed a father figure, not a brother.
I think also Qui-Gon would have been able to nurture that rogue side of Anakin much better, because that's what he was taught and that's what he personified.
George did know what he was doing. He just needed us there to retroactively be just ever so slightly twist. But yes, it's all there. The bare bones of it is there. And there we go. There's Palpatine, who got his shot
with great interest.
That line.
I love it.
That's why I look at Gooch and Badger's channel. I'll be watching Yokari with great interest.
I love you on YouTube. Now, fun fact: the waterfalls are all salt. It's just
really
salt. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's cool. I've seen the way they did the pod race scene with all the Q-tips and stuff, but I didn't know the salt waterfalls.
Very ballsy of him, basically, be like, no, I'm going to train Anakin, even if you fucking, because that could have got him expelled. But I mean, it's a bit.
Well, I think he was willing. That's how much he loved Qui-Gon. He knew that was the case. He's like, even if I will risk expulsion from the Jedi Order, and I will still do this.
Obviously, his body doesn't disappear because he hasn't been taught that yet. Not all Jedi just disappear when they die.
I actually remember out of the theater my father questioning that. I didn't because I was fucking 6, but my dad
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, this is where you get that famous line too, but which was destroyed, the master or the apprentice?
always
And I
true,
never,
there
And then we find out later the night of this funeral or the night before, one of the two.
that's when he kills Plagueis.
It was when he murders Plagueis. Yep.
By the way, this is one of those retroactive things where there was, I do not believe, a rule of 2 as such when he said that. It just meant that there's always a master and there's always an apprentice. That's just, there's always a mentor and a mentoree. But also now we realize for 1,000 years, there's been a rule of 2 where there's only 2 Sith, one to hold power and one to crave
And
it.
one to
That way you
crave it.
always have the strongest. And that's the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about how great that ending music theme is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like that music.
I
The
love it.
sound-
I'm not even joking.
The
I love it.
symbolic piece between
The sound
Youngins.
is phenomenal because like the TX Lucas sound THX
THX.
sound came out and I want to say 90 something 93 94 somewhere around there when it started really being started
93,
being
right? 'Cause
used.
wasn't it used for Jurassic Park? That was like its first big.
Yes, it started using that sound and listening to it the other night watching this movie with the sound bar. Holy Dinah, it was
The
great.
glowing orb is just like a symbolic of peace, like a
But again,
flowers
I
or
think the flaws with this movie is I mean Jar Jar. I mean that's a given. I think they could have used a different type of character there. But I think the other flaw is like there's an uneven balance of like is it like a family movie or is it a dark movie? It was jumping back and forth with
I
that.
think
And
you
it's
can have both, but
the way they did it wasn't the way to like
Yeah.
to establish this. Like it was really awkward at times. Some of the acting was awkward too, but you get that with Star Wars films. Like that's what you expect from.
See,
Star
and
films.
I can't. It really annoys me when people complain about the hollow acting of the prequels and whatnot because that's also in the OT. Let's be real.
they get so upset when you fucking point that out. And it's not even a fucking Star Wars was always bad. That ain't what I said. But a lot of the
No.
complaints they say is like you could make the same points about the original trilogy.
Agreed.
Is it the best prequel ever?
No, stop it. You know that. It's fine though for what it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it could have been different. Yes, there are others that are better.
I honestly like the film. I appreciate it a lot. Again, I didn't like the Darth Maul scene. The end of Darth Maul. I think it could have played out differently. That's just my opinion. Because I'm a Darth Maul fan. I want more Darth Maul. I like it. You didn't even get to know the character, but you could say the same thing about Boba Fett.
I say he's got some books for you.
Yeah, I know, but you could say the same thing about Boba Fett because we never got to know Boba Fett. So in the original,
Boy, do I have some books for you.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, just
But,
wait until you read him training fucking Han and Leia's daughter. All
Oh
new
my
respect.
I just like I'd like to see more character development. The pacing's pretty fast in the beginning. It's I wish he could have slowed it down just a touch just to get a little bit more out of it. But that's just my thoughts on it. I mean, is it a great film? It's a good film. I wouldn't say it's a great
It's
film.
definitely better than people have been giving it credit for 25 fucking years.
Yeah, I
watch it every year.
It's
I
not
go
as
back
horrible
and-
as people say. Yeah, but
I go back and watch it every year because like the first 6 are the movies I watch the most.
Well, I should hope so.
But yeah, like I'll go to you next. Your thoughts on this film and like where we're going into next. So
Yeah, so I think the Phantom Menace, on the topic of CGI and practical effects, it revolutionized the use of CGI in film.
Mhm.
While
Yeah.
some of the digital effects are quite dated now, I think they were groundbreaking at the time, and they set a new standard for what was possible. I think John Williams' musical score, Duel of the Fates, we've already mentioned, is phenomenal. The musical themes and leitmotifs are just outstanding. Some of the best in the entire series.
really, sorry, he got me by surprise that Phantom Menace was the most rewatched out of all 3.
Interesting. Yeah, I think because probably people are wanting to watch it in order, and they'll always begin with the Phantom Menace, so that might have something to do with it.
Yeah.
The Darth Maul's introduction was great. Like Gooch, would have been nice to see more of him. The fight choreography was the best in the series. I think there's nothing that rivals it. We got expansion on some lore. You know, we saw more of the Jedi Council, how the Republic functioned or was dysfunctional, you could say.
Yeah.
The concept of the midi-chlorians, which is a little bit controversial, but yeah. My only pushback would probably be on Jar Jar Binks. Anakin, like the actor who plays Anakin, I wasn't really fond of him. His role
No
in the
offense
narrative,
to him as a person.
no offense to him, exactly. Yeah, can't really blame him for the writing.
I mean, you're put into a like an iconic role. Like it's kind of unfair to the kid. And again, the dialogue and the lines and the direction for him is probably like it's unfair.
Yeah, I mean, nobody hates Hayden Christensen. He got a lot of pushback, but looking back, we're all quite fond of him. As for his role as Anakin here, I think in the narrative it felt somewhat passive, with his later transformation into Darth Vader hinted at, but not meaningfully explored in this film. It would have been nice to see a bit of the contrast between the light and good within him, which would have been foreshadowing for what we see later in as the series progressed. Other than that, I think, as I said, like the political aspects, I wasn't a huge fan of. I understand they were integral to show us how the Republic became the Empire, but I don't know. I think it was a bit too dry for me. I would have liked to have seen it done in a different way. But for the most part, I think it's a decent film. It's not the best in the series, of course, but it gets the job done and it paves the way for.
I think that's
about to happen.
What you touched on there, Niyat. That's where it falls flat. Where like they're wanting to dive into the politics, but they don't want to dive too deep because they still want to keep that family, like movie where everyone can watch this movie and get engaged with it. So they kind of touch on it, but they don't really go too much into it because then it drives the kids away a little bit. That's what I'm thinking.
I agree. I mean, it's very central to the plot, but we don't see very much happening there. It's just a matter of the Trade Federation have invaded us. Amidala's like, we need you to help us. And then they're like, well, let's send a council. We don't want to send a council. And she's like, well, no vote of no confidence. And it's just resolved there. And then the rest of it sort of happens in the sideline where Palpatine's like, well, I've been nominated. Well, I've been voted chancellor, blah, blah, blah.
That's where the pacing's off a little bit. Like there should have been a little more depth with all that. I agree with you. And I also think that Anakin should have been like around 11 or 12 years old.
What did you think of the Jedi? The depiction of the Jedi? You forever in the original trilogy, you hear about, it was a Jedi and this, and we finally see what the Jedi look like. Their temples, their order, their robes, their fight styles, the way they talk to each other.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Too.
Is it what you imagined the Jedi would look like?
But I'm also aware that this is a stage when the Jedi were stagnating. So I do accept the way that they're depicted, and I can use my imagination to see what they would have been like maybe 100, couple of thousand years before this. So I thought that was a brilliant addition to this in terms of the way the Jedi functioned. We got to see, hear and understand a little bit more about the Force, the way that they fought, because I thought that was really toned back in the original series. But then, of course, it was made a while back. They had limitations with what they could show. So,
and also you're dealing with an older one and a broken one, and one.
CFH. I was a bit apprehensive about the stream, but it has been great chat. Haha, great stream, guys. Great opinions all around. Love it, Gooch and the gang for the win. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you for the $5. Yeah, we're not gonna. I'm not gonna come in here and just bash it and like really pick it apart. Like EFAP every frame. Like it's more of like a just general discussion about everything, and just pick up like me and Niyat are kind of picking out the points that we don't like. I wouldn't say we don't like that.
It was very tactically chosen a little for who's here.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
Niyat knew what he knows, but he's also got a very solid mind for filmmaking. And Leon and I are your shills. Okay, we're your ones that know the EU and the expanded universe. And
Oh, and you and Leon added so much context to this. Like you guys know the lore so well. I was a bit apprehensive. I asked Gooch about. I was like, I know the films and I've read a few of the comics and the books, but not to the extent that other people know the lore. So I thought a little bit out of place.
And to that end, because we complained about all the time, you shouldn't have to read a bunch of fucking books and comics to understand the plot. I am very well aware that we know far more than we should. Because of that, we give exceptions to things that he's like, that's fine, but I just watched a 2-hour movie and a bunch of shit doesn't make sense. I get that. I do.
Leon, your thoughts on everything that happened throughout this film, and like obviously we're going to get into Attack of the Clones next.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't come at this with an unbiased. I mean, I will actively try to come at all of these with an unbiased angle in terms of the quality of the filmmaking and whatnot. But also, man, it's Star Wars. Not only was it Star Wars, this is my first theatrical Star Wars. I've been a prequel defender my whole life, and that was very difficult for about 10 to 15 years, really. Until
There's a rough going.
Like, there's so. This is my second favorite prequel film. I will say Revenge of the Sith is my favorite. I can't wait until we get to that. But this is my second favorite prequel film. Even me and Badger gave our little nitpicks, our thoughts. But again, we were able to add a little bit of context, which does soften it for us. I mean, I don't know. I love this movie. It is truly great to get to talk about Star Wars again with this almost childlike sense of wonder that I don't know about you guys. I haven't gotten to do, minus some offhanded conversations with Badger throughout our knowing each other. Never in the last God knows how long have I been excited and filled with love to talk about Star Wars. And that's something that I grew up doing. I mean, we make jokes. I make jokes about I'm obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog and Dragon Ball, but really Star Wars was there from day one. Again, two years old. And I will never let my love for this series die. I will never let my love for these movies die, or at least the ones that are truly Star Wars. And I had a really great time. Thank you so much for this.
Oh, absolutely. And all I'm saying is, when we get to 4, 5, 6, dude, you're in for some heat, because like that's my.
And we get to 4, 5, 6, you're gonna get some hot takes about Empire from me.
Yeah, here we go.
Don't also trust and believe. We have all the lore on 4, 5, and 6 too. There's many things in the expanded universe going on at those times.
I'm just gonna say now, I'm such a shill for Return of the Jedi. People can't.
I'm gonna get Robert Meyer Burnett to come on.
Yes,
Return of the Jedi will always be my favorite Star Wars movie. I will defend that movie till I die.
James, thank you for becoming a member, brother. I appreciate that. Welcome to the gang. So obviously Badger, the guru, Star Wars guru, as I call him.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, your thoughts of this movie and moving forward, like we're gonna.
I mean, yeah, Revenge of the Sith is my favorite, then Attack of the Clones, then the Phantom Menace, just for straight up action scenes and music and the romance stuff, because I do like Anakin and Padme, but just because I was vicariously living as Anakin, so of course I want him to get the girl. I'm so happy we did this. Yeah, I can see the chat basically saying the same thing. Forget Disney Star Wars. It's nice to talk about just real, actual Star Wars. I do not remember a time in my life before Star Wars. I always just grew up with these VHSs and it being there, and what a great time. Yeah. Finally, it's worth all the useless fucking knowledge. Yes, that's what I grew up with. Those.
Yes, me too.
And the individual one of Luke with all the useless knowledge is finally for a reason. These streams.
Dude, I was a little kid, and when I saw Star Wars, like The New Hope, and I remember my dad taking me, and it was snowy out. And I was little, and going to the King's Theater here and seeing Star Wars, and dude, seeing Darth Vader like in the first scenes there, I was like right away, I'm like, yep, that's my guy. Even at like 5 years old, I was just like, yep, that's my guy. I was always been a Vader fan. Like, Vader, he Vadered. Like that's I just fell in love with Star Wars, and that was it, and I loved it ever since. And then, of course, we see what's happened to it, and it hurts. It hurts the same way what they've done Marvel and DC and everything. It hurts me. Cuts me deep. But yeah, I thank you guys for joining me tonight. It was a lot of fun talking about this, and we did it in 2 hours.
Oh, and it gets better.
I was really hoping we'd go for 2 hours and 16 minutes, because that's the runtime of the Phantom Menace.
Grift. No. Yeah. Perfect.
Everyone in the chat, thank you so much. I appreciate you a ton. Please sub to these guys. Guys, tell them where you are, what you got going on. Niyat, I'll start with you. What you got going on this week, and where can they find you?
Yeah, working on a video on the Terrifier series, which should be out in 2 days. I'm going to be on your channel for Uzumaki. I'm going to be on Nadia's the day after for From, and then my podcast on Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, covering Predator, the one and only. So looking forward to that.
Looking forward to that. Leon, what you got going on, brother?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm again on a plethora of streams. I'm loving bringing on streams. I'm also I love making content every day. I'm also kind of just there's not been anything new that's interesting to me. I don't like to make content on things that are not interesting just for the sake of making content. I made 2 videos today, both bombed. That's fine by me. I had fun making them. I actually lost like 5 subs today. But you know what? That's fine by me. I was 17 away from 6,000. Now I'm 22 away from 6,000. So anyone who's watching this not sub to Words of Paradise, if you want to get, because my goal is 6,000 by the end of the year, that'd be pretty cool.
22 heroes, please.
Yeah, 22 heroes. That would be amazing. But no, I don't know what's coming up. I know that let's see, tomorrow is Thursday. I think I'm doing something tomorrow. Oh yeah, no, tomorrow's Uzumaki. We're doing Uzumaki tomorrow, the final episode. And then after that, I may or may not do a Halloween stream of my own. I'm not sure. Friday, I've got my Friday night live stream. Saturday is SNH, and then Sunday and then after SNH, Moxie's Misfits with these 2 motherfuckers. Can't wait to do that. I love Moxie's Misfits, and then Sunday. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys afterwards. I got to talk. She was actually. We'll talk about this backstage. Okay. And then Sunday, I don't know if I'm on late night with Goose Sunday or not. So maybe that, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'd like to say you guys are on there. So yeah.
Cool. So then that's my week. Videos may or may not come. Depends on how much I give a shit about what's going on. The election's coming up. It's been a lot of political stuff lately. People,
it's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Badger sir, where can they find you? What you got going on?
Tomorrow will be on Nerd Wars open bar, and then that's my only stream tomorrow. And then Friday pre F&T and Inside the Badger Den. Nadia will be with us, and then Saturday Predator, Nerd Wars, Predator, and then that Moxie stream with so many gentlemen.
Nice. And of course you can catch me here. I'll be doing Thursday night Uzumaki episodes 3 and 4. I might push it back a week because I might have to do something tomorrow, so just hang on. And then late night with Gooch on Sunday night. You can catch all of us there. This week we got Price of Reason this Sunday, so join us for that. It'll be a blast.
Guy. I love Price.
Yeah, Price is a great guy, and we'll have quite the conversation on Sunday night, and it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of laughs, and so swing on by, and please subscribe to these guys. Like Niyat needs to sub, so please sub to him.
Please help me get to 5,000, guys.
Yeah.
Criminally undersubbed.
Yeah. No, check out these guys. I'd greatly appreciate it. And again, chat, you guys are fucking amazing. I appreciate all you guys. And as always,
stay Gucci,
guys. Stay Gucci. That's right. See you guys.
See you.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?